podcast for the love and fun of tennis.
Joining the podcast today is Suzanne Sweeney. Suzanne is a holistic lifestyle coach, and she will be sharing her knowledge in nutrition, hydration, breath work, and all things health that can be applied to the world of tennis.
Fly so high, I'm hypnotized. What's up is down, what's left is right.
Oh, looking
All right,
good?
We're live. We are good.
All right, here we go. First podcast for two of you ladies. Welcome.
Thanks for having us.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Suzanne, thanks so much for coming. We
Absolutely.
appreciate you being here.
Thanks for inviting me.
Absolutely,
Happy to
yeah.
be here.
I'm looking forward to this. Is going to be a good one. I would like to start first by introducing you to everybody and make sure that they know the connection. You have Bass River. You are Mahul's life partner, and you guys been together for a long time. I'm not going to say how many years, but a long time. He's such a nice guy.
Yeah.
He is such, and the joy in his eyes when he steps on a court.
Yes.
I gotta tell you this. It's like
I know.
he loves it, and we love that too. And you are a holistic lifestyle coach, right? And you are trained under Paul Chek,
Yes.
who, in my opinion, is the top of the Everest when it comes to health. There's Paul Chek, and there's everyone else, and I'm looking forward to get into as much as we can on nutrition, hydration, breathing, sleep, mental state, movement, as much as we can cover. I know it's a lot. Those could be podcasts on their own, but we do we do appreciate everything.
How
you have
much time do we
Yeah,
have?
exactly. Everything that you have to offer, and we're also going to try to veer off slightly towards how can some of those things be applied to the game of tennis. We do have my lovely wife Rachel here, who's going to have some questions on the female side, which Kevin and I are not equipped to ask or answer. So we're looking forward to that, Rach.
I have a lot of questions.
There you go. I love it. I love
like
it.
questions.
That's it. Let's start with this. How did you get into it? How did you get into the holistic lifestyle and everything else that comes with it?
Well, so I used to work at a lab. I was a scientist, and I did that for 20 years, and I started to get a little antsy. And I'm kind of a multi-passionate person, so lots of interests, and I wanted to narrow it down. And so I would ask myself for a few years in a row. I would ask myself, all right, what are my passions? And I'd write them down. Okay, I'd stick it away somewhere. 6 months later, what are my passions? And I did this back and forth because I knew I had to stay at the lab for a little while, make some money, and put my daughter through school and all that. So preparing to leave, I was kind of like, let me just, what stays with me? What am I really passionate about? And food and movement and nature kept coming up. And I was thinking to be an animal biologist. I was actually going to open a wine bar. That was even on there, which is kind of funny.
Whoa.
Yeah, a little different.
Yeah.
But food and movement, exercise, and outdoors kept coming up. So I was talking with a friend of mine one day, and he said, have you ever heard of Paul Chek? The Chek Institute. I had not. And I looked it up, and I said, yep, I'm going there. And I was excited to go there to study about nutrition and movement. And what I didn't realize was all the other stuff that he had to teach me. And of course, at that time, food and movement, I already knew. I was an athlete, and I was a foodie and an athlete already. So I wanted to learn more, but what I really needed to learn was all the other stuff that he taught me. For me, mostly all the, going inward and all the, we'll talk about all of it. But, and I was hooked. So so it was just kind of checking in with myself and asking me, and knowing what I'm passionate about and trying to pare it, because the list is long, all the things I love to do. And so paring it down and asking myself over and over again, and what are the first things that come to me and light me up? And that's kind of how I did it.
That's
amazing.
That's a beautiful, yeah. It's so nice because every time you come across Paul Chek, he's so multidimensional.
Yeah.
It's just and you almost every time he says something, you realize like this guy knows it is it. He's feeling it. He's living it. He is it.
Yes.
Yeah. And how was it studying with him? How was it?
He's awesome. My first level class was with one of his teachers,
Yep.
J.P. Sears, who is absolutely fantastic as well, who doesn't work at the Czech Institute anymore. But, Holistic Lifestyle Coach 1 is just, you go in there and you learn about yourself, and you learn, we talked about, what is your relationship to food? And I'd never asked myself that before. And I wrote my little answer, food, glorious food. I love food. It's a hot date. It's a family. it's it's whatever, it's gatherings, and it's, like typical kind of foodie response. And, I realized, that it's actually not necessarily a good relationship with food, and just little things like that. And you learn about, so you just get the introduction to the, to the foundation principles. And then check level 2, I met Paul. And it was a week-long intense. And the great thing, there's so many great things about him, but one of my favorite is that, that he's got an itinerary of the, and we have an itinerary. We had all these prerequisites and all the things we're supposed to do. And he gets in there, and there are like 30 of us maybe in the class. And he just goes off on the tangents that if you have ever heard him, they're tangents galore. But he did this throughout, 9 to 5 for 5 days, and he'd start off, with the syllabus or whatever, but he can tune in to the group and know what needs to be said, and that's exactly what he did. And one woman got upset, and she raised her hand halfway through and said, I came here to learn A, B, and C, and you're not teaching A, B, and C. You're talking about all this. I won't even get into it. He's talking about all this stuff. And he asked everyone, and he said, okay, raise your hand if what I've been saying has resonated with you. And we all were like, hands up in the air. And he can tune in, and he knows how to teach to the group and to the person and people sitting in front of him, and not just, so his tangents, hit people where they need it. They'd speak to people. And so, and he's calm and yet a powerhouse at the same time. And
that's how he comes across.
Exactly. And that's so cool. But, he even, the way he even addressed this student's question, just take a breath and just explain it exactly as it is. And she, by the end of it, they were hugging, and she understood, and everything was great. Like he'll tell you the truth, and he'll tell it like it is with such compassion that you don't feel like he's coming at you ever. You just feel like
he loves to spread the word, and he loves to make sure that everything is covered, and he does go on those tangents. But it's so cool because you feel like, even watching a video of him, you feel like this guy knows what I'm looking for.
Yes. Well, he's read, so he's so well read, and he's just studies, and he dives in, and he not only dives in, and this is what maybe we'll get to at some point, and I find for myself, okay, there's the studying of books, and you read and you read and you read, and there's talking with people, and there's researching, and that's very useful. And then there's the deep dive inside, and that's how he gets a lot of answers. It's how I get a lot of answers.
Yep.
And so he does that well, and I strive for that as well.
So let's get into that a little bit. That is a major part that's being overlooked, obviously, in the traditional medicine and everything else that you see. That's just diving in a little bit, going inwards and seeing. Do you want expanding a little bit on that? And
sure.
Just nothing crazy, but just
okay.
Yeah.
I'll try to just give me if I'm talking.
No.
So one thing I've learned, and I've learned a little bit from Paul, and also a lot from, I'm a shamanic practitioner, initiated by my teacher in Gloucester, Ann Drake. And the shamanic journey, which is one tool of going inward, has taught me probably more than anything else has taught me. And I'm a book, if I could have like a library the way Paul Chek does, I would love that. I'm like, I need a house with like 5 libraries and all the built-ins, and I love to read and I study, but the going inward. And so those are the things, when I first sought out Paul Chek and studied with him, like I said, I was all about the food and the movement and the exercise, but Dr. Quiet, as he calls it, I needed that, and I knew I needed that. I was not a meditator, really. I was a go walk in the woods kind of person, and okay, that's something. But quiet and go inward and feel the answer rather than trying to intellectualize the answer. And again, I do that often with shamanic journey. I can meditate now. I do meditate now as well. There are other ways if you just, and that's what I see people really need, and what most people do not do or enough, is to just get quiet and go in here, because the body never lies. The mind does. So you can intellectualize something, you can talk yourself out of something, you can talk yourself into something, but the truth lies somewhere in here. And so going inward.
Yeah.
That's hard to do. You're wired to think your way, think your way out of it in any type of situation, instead of maybe actually just feeling it. But I don't know how you get there to shut your brain off.
Right. Well, the mind is a wonderful tool, and this is like the 6 foundation principles: thoughts and thinking, and the mind is a wonderful tool, but don't let it take over.
It's just a tool.
It's
not
tool.
you.
It's a very useful tool. It's not you.
It's not you.
That's exactly right. You learn how to talk to your soul. This takes practice. And so you don't even have to say where's my soul, but you can talk about that for 5 hours, but you just feel it. So you learn to incorporate the body, the mind, the soul, and you get the answers. And the mind is honestly the kind of the last one of all the, the heart and the body and the soul to sort of know the truth, really. So it takes practice, and it takes feeling your body. And that's probably where I would start, is to say, just like the gut feelings.
Yeah.
You walk
trusting it, learning to trust that.
Trust it. That's the thing. Learning to trust it. And that lesson slapped me in the face so many times that I finally was like, okay.
We override it so
it's
often.
funny because the answer can really be there, I guess, but you just assume, I need to think about this.
Right,
more.
and exactly, you talk yourself out of it,
right.
And you got to go with that gut. You've got to go with what the body's telling you, with the gut feeling, because it's always right. There's no time when it isn't.
Right.
Yeah.
And
Go ahead.
I feel like it's so easy to tune the quiet out too. Like you can be by yourself and read a book, or you can be by yourself and go for a walk with your dog and listen to a podcast.
Right.
But you're not actually being quiet.
Yes.
You're taking things in
True.
while you're having that alone time, which is what I do often.
Yep. No,
and going for a walk in the woods without any music or any podcasts and just thinking.
Right.
I feel so different after.
Right.
Than when I listen to a podcast the whole time for an hour and a half.
Right.
It's just so different.
Yeah, listening, it's hard to fit it all in. You want to listen to the podcast and you want to do all the things, and not underestimating the importance of stop the input, because if you're constantly having input, people watching the news all the time,
correct,
or even if it's podcasts and things like that are very important, they're useful, they have their place to listen to them, but it's still input from the outside. It's not coming from here.
The way we talked about this before, and the way I look at it, and could be wrong here, but it's you are ingesting information just like you're ingesting food. You need time to digest that.
Yes.
You can't keep taking it in and in and in. Your brain needs time to separate that and put it in order and see what throws out, what you throw out, and what you do.
Right.
So is that kind of the way that you guys are?
Yes. So discernment. So that's where the mind can come in, but it's also, it's the whole system, which is why all the nutrition and all the hydration, all the things are so important, because it sets up a good relationship, a good communication pathway between the mind and the body.
Yep.
If you have that, now it's a little easier to hear the body talking to you, to hear the soul, the heart, and all the things. And it's not the body screaming for, in pain and nutrition. So you get all the sort of those basics sorted out, and now you've got this communication going on. Clearer message.
Yeah.
Yep. And you trust, and then now you really know you can trust it. It's like you have a food craving. Well, if you're kind of an unhealthy person, you crave sugar, there's probably not a good reason for that. And you shouldn't say, oh, well, my body is craving sugar, therefore that's a good thing.
Right.
No, you get the health, you get the basics down.
Yeah.
And now you know the cravings that you have. I'm craving beef, I need beef, or I'm craving vegetable, whatever. You know that's true.
Correct. You eliminate that. just going back a little bit, I can absolutely attest to the power of the Dr. Quiet. I've done Paul Chek's. I took his scientific stretching, and within that, to get you ready, he had a mini chapter into really. He was doing it was called like body ready. I can't remember exactly the wording, but a meditation. Yeah. And I did it listening to it to get ready for the next couple of chapters, and it does take you in like a completely different space. Yeah. It is powerful. Yeah. All right. Well, let's get into the biggest one of all that we're going to cover in 5 minutes, nutrition. Now, and then we're gonna talk a little bit on that, if you don't mind, about how we can, how people can take from this what they can do before or after competition or playing and so forth. But why don't we go, I know it's a broad subject, but on nutrition, a couple of basics that you look at, that you think of, and then we'll kind of see where that takes us.
Okay. Perhaps the most important thing I think about nutrition is to eat what fuels you, not what's trendy. So, that takes a little bit of work, a little detective work. An elimination diet is, I think, the best way to determine that. But I'll tell you a very quick story. When I was racing, I used to, before races, they'd have all the bagels, and I'd eat all the bagels, and that was, the carb load. And there's something to that. There's something to that, the carb loading stuff. But I did all the bagels. And I'd go off and I'd race and I'd do okay. And then I got into this health thing. So I was sort of doing the paleo thing. I was going gluten-free, so I wasn't going to eat the bagels. So I'm like, all right, I'm going to have omelet. I'm not a real big egg eater, but I was like, I'm going to do an omelet with a bunch of veggies in it. Okay, so I was doing all this, and I went and I ate that, and I went and did a race I'd done years before, and I ran out of gas. Right in the middle of the race, I ran out of gas. Wow. And so I was like, okay. So, and my point to the story is, okay, so yeah, it was the thing to do this sort of paleo eating, and I was gluten-free, and I was doing all the, quote, healthy things, but that's not what my body wanted, and it's certainly not for racing, not for doing a sport. So, okay, back to the drawing board. So I personally, I need carbs before I do a race, okay, or before a tennis match, whatever. So you find out, just a little bit of process of elimination there. What serves you? My whole needs more protein, more meat than I do, whatever. So you've got to figure out what that is for you.
Correct.
You cannot just read the latest trend and say you can try it. You read and you stay abreast of things. But so I finally sorted out what I needed, and now I know what to eat before at any point in time, but I know for me a bowl of oatmeal lasts me a whole lot longer than a big old egg omelet thing, whatever. But so it's like, yeah, you want to be healthy, but you want to do what is best for you, because we're all different, and that is the number one thing. And don't get caught up in social things and being comfortable. Just figure out what's best for you, your macro ratio, and do that.
And it's going to be different, right? From men, women, kids.
Yes, it will. It's going to be a little bit different for men and women and kids, but just person to person. Mm-hmm. And it's going to be different for you even every day. And you've got to learn to eat intuitively. So if you're working out, you need a little bit different macronutrient ratio maybe. If you're and then I'm at the point where I know I'm not feeling meat today. I'm not going to have meat. I'm not feeling or, oh my God, give me a burger now. Okay, gotta have. So I just feel it, and I know, and I trust it. So you get to that point. It took some tweaking. It took some process of elimination to get there. But eat real food, of course. So there's no room for the processed stuff. But nothing.
Yep.
So we're talking real food, and we're not talking junk. So if we're on the real food, but then you figure out the macronutrient ratio that serves you, and one that serves you before your tennis match or your athletic endeavor, and then also ones that just serve you day to day.
Yeah, it's funny because it seems like that would be like at first like a lot of work. Like, how do I feel this? But if you do take a little time for a little bit and pay attention, and then try to eat a certain way, your body does sort of dictate it. You make choices after a while, and you're like you're you're like, geez, that you're feeling good, and you're like, I'm making the right choices, but you're not actually making them. Like your body's kind of choosing what you want.
Exactly.
So it seems like it could be like, how do I figure all that out? But
it gets so
with,
easy.
just with paying attention to it, almost just helps you you end up making the right decision.
Absolutely, paying attention is the key. Listening to your body, it comes back to that again. And so, like I said, I mean, for me, I was up here in the head. I was like, all right, so I'm going gluten-free, and I'm going to do the things that they say to do. So, and it did not work for me.
Right.
Well, I had to tweak it. I mean, a combination of, still gluten-free and do the things and figure out, but tweaking it. So, but paying attention is all you have to do. It takes some time. So giving it, being a little patient and taking some time, but paying attention to what your body, how it feels on the court or whatever you're doing. Did you run out of gas? Did you feel like it was not digested? Was it sitting there? And then, so food diary, kind of old fashioned, but Paul Chek's all about the food diary, and I use it for my clients, and it is the thing that works. You start writing stuff down and you figure it out, and you don't have to do it for long. And then you start realizing, okay, what didn't sit well with me? Oh, it was that thing I ate, and you got to write it down, or, what served me on the court or whatever.
Do you find that for women, different weeks of their cycle, their food can look very different?
Absolutely.
Tapping into that, like this week I'm a lot more hungry. This week I don't need as much food. It's wild.
Yes, it is wild. And it's true, the way that you work out, the way that a woman works out is going to be different. I guess it's a little personal, but I'll share it. Okay. Again, when Mehul and I, we raced together for a little while in kayaks and stuff, and I would look at the calendar. As soon as I got the race date, I'd look at the calendar and I'd say, "Ooh, I'm going to have estrogen strength for this race. That's going to be awesome. We're going to kick ass." You just
but there's so many.
But it was there. It was actually,
and it was true.
Yeah.
Is it estrogen, or it's when your estrogen is higher?
Yeah. So
okay.
And
I always thought it was when your testosterone was a little bit higher.
Well, testosterone, it does, that ebbs and flows. But for me, I was looking at, the menstrual cycle and mostly the estrogen progesterone balance and what was going on. And for me, it looked like it was estrogen power.
Wow.
There you
I'd
go.
go 20 miles, and I did, and boom.
That's amazing.
And so you do want to shift your workouts. You can work out a little harder, and you listen to your body. It might be, but that later. So I just kind of tapped into that. And then I didn't even know all this stuff at that point. I was just noticing the cycles. And later, there is a lot of scientific research now on women and working out and what time in their cycle. So, okay, if you happen to be in a particular time of your cycle, you can go heavier, you can go harder. If you're at another point in your cycle, you want to just dial it back a little bit. It doesn't
you can feel it all of a sudden. You're like, I just have a fifth gear.
Exactly.
And your instructor will be like, wow, you kicking butt today.
Exactly.
It's just because of
amazing.
the way your body is made up that week. It's nuts.
Yep.
That's it. We're going to go tomorrow's
exciting.
Practices. We're going to ask everybody, where are they?
I wonder.
It's a new start to the practices.
Yes,
All of a sudden.
Where are we at today?
Schedule your tournaments with the women based on their
It
cycle.
would be so interesting how when women are kicking butt in tennis, like if they're having a really good match,
right?
I'm sure that has a lot to do with it.
Yep.
It would have to be incredibly frustrating too if you weren't really tuned in to why some of this stuff is happening. Yet your body, you're doing stuff the same, and your body is reacting in different ways. You're like, geez, this was something my results were better at one point, or now they're worse, and you maybe weren't in tune, or maybe, I don't know, maybe every woman is in tune. It's news to me,
I
that's
doubt
for sure.
they're all in tune. And the other thing,
I doubt
now
that
you're
too.
just thinking
right.
there's like what's happening here? I'm doing all the things I'm supposed to,
right?
And God, that would be unbelievably frustrating,
Right. And then there's birth control pills. If you're on a lot of women now, the cycle's just not really quite natural or quite there. It depends on the type of birth control you're on. Is it totally, are your hormones still kind of doing the ebb and flow that they naturally do. And there's all kinds of things that play
Because you
into
need that, right? Otherwise, it throws the system off balance quite a bit.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So I cannot use that one if I have a bad day. I'm in the cycle of the month. It's not good. I mean, it's not doesn't go for men. Okay, well, so it's just a bad match last night. That's all.
That's
okay,
it.
yeah.
Blame something else. I don't know. Yep.
No, that's true though.
But it is a real thing.
But no, it is. It's absolutely a real thing. Yeah.
And sometimes you feel more confident.
Yeah.
Sometimes you feel more kind of inward, and
Yep. Yep.
it's nuts.
And if we were to extrapolate this, it'll go further on because a lot of our members and a lot of our players, they have a weekly match, right? They have their Thursday or they have their Friday match or their Wednesday, and you can plan as much as you can your nutrition around that. But is there something that you would think that people should do or not do the night before, the morning of? Let's say you play a match at 9 a.m. and I'm going specifically into, okay, depending on your body type, depending on what you like, do you eat within a 2-hour window before your match, or you don't? Or I guess it's varies, right?
It does vary. I personally would recommend at least, not within 45 minutes, an hour probably, but 2 hours should be fine. Like, I probably wouldn't even go 2 hours, because now you're starting to, I mean, if we're talking a match that's going to be,
90
hour and a
minutes.
half yep. So, that's another thing to pay attention to. How long does the food, so that I'll answer the question, but the whole getting into the macronutrients and what works for you is also how long does it satiate you, which is again with the, the omelet didn't last me and I'm hungry an hour later. So, okay, you find out how long. So typically it's recommended you eat every 4 hours. So you've got a 90-minute match and you ate 2 hours. I kind of like to narrow that a little bit. So maybe stop eating an hour before. Digest. Some people have slower digestion. Actually, Mehul said he was talking to you about the beet test the other day.
Yes.
Or was it you that he
Yeah,
was talking?
yeah. We're chatting
And
there.
I love the beet test.
Yeah.
And it's a good one to
Let's
help.
tell everybody what that is.
Okay,
yeah.
with that question. So you eat red beets, and everyone has probably noticed when you eat red beets, you see them on the way out, both in the urine and the stool. So you eat the beet. You notice when is the first time you see the beet in your stool, not the urine, but in the stool. Okay, and that tells you, how quickly something moves through you. Okay, and then you look at the last time you see the beet. So the last time that you see the beet, for some people, is going to be, it averages like 3 days later or something. So how long does food stay in your system?
Yep.
And this just tells you how fast you digest food. Helps you, give you a clue how fast you digest. So and then you kind of look at that information and you say, if I digest food really quickly and I go, 2 hours without eating and then go into a match, I might be really hungry and I might be starting to get running out of fuel toward the end of that. So that's someone who would. So if you burn through your beets, if you don't see the beets 24 hours later, you're done seeing them, or even 48 hours. Okay, you might want to eat a little closer to the match, because you go through food pretty quickly. And then again, you're looking at the first time you see the beets, transit time. How. So that gives you a clue as to how what that gap should be. 2 hours sounds long to me. Maybe that's just my personal.
Yep.
But I would eat a little closer. But then you don't want to eat within, certainly within a half hour, 45 minutes, because now it's just you're digesting. So that doesn't help. And, when your body is digesting, obviously the energy is going there, and you want the energy elsewhere in your match. But also all the, you're going to feel it in your back. Like all the nerves in your spine innervate. You got the nerves that innervate to the organs, also innervate to that area. So you've got stuff going on in your belly, digestion, or food that's sitting there like a lead balloon because you didn't eat the right thing, or you ate too much or whatever. And you're going to start feeling it in your back.
Isn't that interesting?
Yeah.
You feel have lower back pain, but yet you had a little too much bread or
Exactly. I see that in some of my Tai Chi students. They'll say, I don't know why my balance is off today, or it could be a bunch of different reasons, or my this hurts, or my back is, and I can almost see a little bit more pooch in the belly that day or something. And I just, like, well, there's a little digestive issue going on. What'd you have last night, or what'd you have this morning? And that can often be it.
That's important too, right? The night before, and how not just tennis or exercise, but life in general. Like, everybody's different, but you don't want to be eating too close to bedtime, right? You want to allow the body to allow that food to digest, right?
Yes. You want to leave at least 2 hours. Even more, really. I would say at least 3 hours. Ideally, like 3 to 4 hours before you go to bed. I don't personally find that easy to do.
Especially if you're trying to get enough sleep and go to bed early enough. Exactly. Work, so it's like that window is. That's a tough window.
So that's what they say. Not going to happen for most of us. So 2 to 3 hours before you go to bed. But if you're eating, and most people have the big meal at dinner time. If you're eating the big meal and then going to bed within an hour or even an hour and a half, it's going to affect your sleep.
And the next day's energy is going to be a little low.
Yes.
All right. And people that like the ritual of having a wine the night before the match, we should cut that off too, right?
It affects sleep. It affects your sleep, and your liver's going to be a little busier, might wake you up, between 1 and 3 a.m. That's a clue,
That's my lovely wife I
have big issues now with alcohol. All of a sudden, I would say within the past 2 years, I just don't sleep.
Yeah.
I'm talking like 1 or 2 drinks. I won't sleep.
Don't fall asleep, or you fall asleep and then you wake up?
Sometimes I just won't even be able to fall asleep.
Yeah.
The other weekend, we had dinner, and I think I had 3 drinks. We went out, and I had 3.
Well, what's amazing is, though, too, however many you had, you stopped way early.
Probably that last drink was at
making it rain in the casino. So you stopped way early. It's not even like you drank right till you went to bed.
So the last drink was probably at 8:30.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then I just had water, and we walked around a lot. I was up moving. I drank a lot of water. We got home at 11:30, 12 o'clock. I laid in bed for maybe 3 hours.
What time do you normally go to bed?
11.
Okay. Here's, I'm going to bring in a little TCM, traditional Chinese medicine. I study a bit of that, and Ayurveda as well. So there's the alcohol. There's also the time. So alcohol, as most people probably know, the liver processes alcohol, among other things. So if you fall asleep and then you find yourself waking up, a lot of people wake up between 1 and 3. That's the liver being busy processing. Mm-hmm. It's a little overburdened. If you have trouble falling asleep, it's often busy mind. 11 o'clock is, so it started off for me noticing it personally in myself, and then I did a little research. 11 o'clock is like a cutoff. If you go to bed before 11 o'clock, okay, the mind is a little more calm, you can fall asleep. If you go to bed after 11 o'clock, and alcohol, I don't know why, but alcohol can, you get the mind going. That's when it's hard to fall asleep. Yeah. So now your liver's busy. Liver, gallbladder are related in Chinese medicine. This is the thinking process, okay? So now these processes are going, and it's going to be very hard to fall asleep. So you've got the alcohol contributing to that. Mm-hmm. You've got the time that you're going to sleep contributing to that. But the 11 o'clock thing, that's the time of the gallbladder. So there's all of our major organs have a time on the Chinese medicine clock. This is when they're most active. Gallbladder is most active between 11 p.m. and 1 a.m.
Oh, wow.
And this is when you start the monkey mind, as they call it. You start thinking about the to-do list or whatever. Mm-hmm. So get to bed before that, before it starts chirping at you. It's a big help. And in Ayurveda, there are 3 doshas, there are 3 body constitutions and we're all some combination of the 3. Pitta time begins at 11 p.m., and that's the thinking part. So get from all these different ancient philosophies, 11 o'clock at night is when the starts chirping at you. Your mind starts getting very
Yep.
busy. So that is huge. Getting to bed, and it's such a challenge. I know. I'm not. This is one of my
11's like
biggest
late,
challenges.
I would say, like
Good. So
it's
then
usually around like 10:30.
which is what. So then you have the situation now. You're going to bed really late. You had 3 drinks, so your liver is busy. Now you're in the gallbladder. So now you got liver, gallbladder, both busy, busy in the mind, busy in the body. So it's hard to fall asleep.
I know. It's just such a shame. Because I just like, I don't feel like I'm overdoing it. You know what I mean?
I know.
And it's just even having 1 or 2 like clean drinks.
I know.
It really messes up my sleep. And then I'll feel like my whole body temperature is hotter.
Yes.
I'm running hotter and I'm thirsty. Even if I'm super hydrated and I ate clean.
Yep.
I'm hot and thirsty and up all night. I'm like, what?
I know. No, it's hard. and I've noticed that does affect women more than men, which is a damn shame.
As I'm
hear
getting
you,
older too, it didn't really affect me as much.
Yes, and
like in my
after
early
having
30s,
kids, as we get older, as the hormones start to do different things, as all the things. Yeah, no, I noticed that.
Yeah.
I don't have a good solution for you.
It's like my body's just telling me like this isn't working for us anymore.
Exactly. It is. It's.
Start drinking at 12 p.m. Come on.
I do find that if I have 1 drink early at like, let's say 5 o'clock.
Yep.
And it's only 1, then I'm good.
Okay. Yep.
But it's 2 that will mess up my sleep.
Yeah. I mean, it makes sense. I'm not surprised, and you know the answer, and it's not maybe the one that you want to hear, but I know. Like I said, I was going to open a wine. I was very into wine. I didn't drink a ton of it. I was very, I just knew good wine, and I appreciated it.
Appreciate it.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
so
same.
I used to host wine parties and all of the stuff. And I really was like, that might be one thing I could do, open up a wine bar. How fun would that be? Gosh, I'm glad I didn't go that route. It's like, and then, I did a total 180 pretty much, but I'd be a disaster right now. It'd be a mess, right? It's because you stay up late and you're drinking, it's just, all this stuff, resveratrol and the tannins and the whatever, this and that, so good for you. No. Sorry,
it's
but
not
no.
Right. It's just not.
It's a little plus in there. But no, drinking wine isn't healthy. It's not always bad either. It's okay to have some wine. But if your body can tolerate, and if your body says no, or whatever alcohol it is, you just have to listen to your body.
And we switched to the clean, like organic, sugar-free wines from Dry Farm Wines years ago. So we're even drinking like nice, clean, it's just still doesn't cut it.
Yep. Agreed.
Such a shame.
The opposite. 2 glasses and I'm snoozing. Can't imagine it keeping me. I can't. It's crazy.
Yeah.
I'm out cold.
Yeah. No cycles for you.
Yeah.
Can I ask you, go back a little bit, because that kind of relates a little bit to one of my dilemmas that I'm working with lately. You said the liver is processing stuff between 1 and 3. Is that?
Yep.
Is
1 a.m., 3 a.m.
That's it. What it is, and that could be anything. That could be not just alcohol. That could be supplements. Everything.
Correct. It's excess hormones.
Yeah.
It's supplements. It's pharmaceuticals. Probably the number one reason why a lot of people wake up at the time. It's processed food, all the things. So it's basically preparing everything that you intake.
Okay.
The liver is our processing plant. It's taking all of it, processing it into something that can be eliminated by the body. So the more crap you eat, and pesticides is another big one. So the more things you put in your body, the more the body has to eliminate it, and the busier the liver is going to be. So, I mean, you can drive yourself crazy with this stuff, but just thinking about it. So pesticides, pharmaceuticals, but even supplements. So even the cleanest of things can be.
That might be my battle there.
Yep. I have a lot of people that have had that happen. They'll start taking a supplement thinking it's great, can't cause any problems just because it's it's not a pharmaceutical, it's a supplement. And it might be doing some good, but your body still has to process it.
Well, you might have just answered why am I waking up?
Interesting.
Yeah, because there's so many nights that I just wake up between that time, and
Okay.
I didn't drink. My mind is clean. I worked out the day before and that stuff, and I do wake up there. Sometimes it's obviously try to process stuff and so forth, but okay,
You'll
well that's
see.
good. We'll learn.
You'll
Yeah.
sleep deep for like 5 hours.
Yeah,
And then he'll wake up at like 3 a.m.
Do you go back to sleep, or you're just up?
Takes
all
me a
day?
while.
It takes him a long
Yep.
time.
Takes me a while.
So
And you take a lot of supplements.
I do.
okay, then
Yeah.
we'll leave it at that. That there,
Yeah.
there could be other reasons, but that's probably
No,
it.
I
If you
I
take
know,
a lot of
yeah.
supplements,
Yeah.
yep, that'll do it.
So
the liver,
interesting.
the liver's processing. All
Okay.
that. So yeah,
Yeah,
try
So
cutting back.
cutting back, process elimination, see how you
Right.
react to the. Hey,
Right.
that's good.
I had a quick question, just
Sure.
going back to eating before matches. To piggyback on that, a lot of people, myself included, will work out in the morning. Not a long match or anything. I don't play tennis, but go to the gym. Should we be waking up and working out fasted, or having a little something before we work out? Because I feel like a lot of times I wake up and I'm not hungry enough to eat
Yep.
before I go to the gym.
Yep.
And I like to come home and then eat around 10:30. But now I'm hearing more that you should have a little something before you work out in the morning if you're someone who works out in the morning. What do you think about that?
So my first response is, how does it feel? Is a question for you, and how does it feel in your body to go and work out on an empty stomach?
Fine. I don't feel hungry.
Okay, and how long is your workout?
Like 45 minutes.
Aerobic or
Yeah.
weightlifting? Or,
A little bit of both.
okay. So if you're feeling fine and you're noticing your body is responding in the way that you want it to, and that it's potentially could, so your muscles just getting stronger, whatever your goals are, you could leave it alone. I think you're teetering on the edge of, but again, that's one of those things. It's like with food. Okay, what's the trend? What are they saying? And how does it feel? So, yeah, generally, if you're working out on an empty stomach, you've got
Water
less
and
fuel.
coffee, though.
That's bulletproof coffee. Are we bulleting the coffee?
Nespresso. The little hemp
Nespresso.
milk.
Okay, I don't know. Yeah, I guess I know Nespresso. I'm not hugely familiar with but yeah. So if you want a little bit more fuel, and maybe so you can, do you know what bulletproof coffee is? Okay,
Oh, yeah.
So like a nice bulletproof coffee. So a little coconut oil or MCT oil, blend that, and a little cardamom in there to cut the acid. Give you a little more hemp. That's great. Throw in the hemp. That could be enough fuel. And so
Okay.
I think if you feel okay, yeah, keep doing it.
Okay.
If there was a blank slate and I had to kind of choose what sounds, but yeah, it does seem a little better. You want some fuel, but I can see both being okay.
Okay.
So yeah, just your body will tell you
Your
when
body
you're
will
done
tell
with
you.
that. When you start getting lightheaded on the, at the gym,
Yeah.
then maybe you need some food.
Yeah. Interesting.
Let's stick with coffee a little bit, and you hear from all ends, and it's obviously an adrenal stressor,
Yeah.
right? So what's your take on that? How do you have it? If you have it, do you recommend it, like Rach said, drinking water, coffee, and then do a physical activity, or do we want to eat before? Should we not have it all the time? Does it have its benefits when you do have it, but too much of it can throw your system off?
Yeah. I have coffee sometimes. I have the gift of not being addicted to coffee, so I can, but I'll have it sometimes and sometimes I won't. Benefits to coffee, I really don't see any, to be honest with you. It does perk people up, it helps people, but there are better ways to do that.
Yeah.
A little qigong in the morning, a little better sleep, the whole 9 yards.
Or a cold shower?
Exactly. There's so many better ways. But if you really enjoy your coffee and you've got a nice source of not only organic coffee, but tested free of mold, coffee is a really big mold crop, like corn coffee can really have mold in them. So there are a couple brands that I found that were organic, but they still had mold. So there are some brands that out there, that are tested. So we're very particular. Mayhol's, he would just die without coffee. I think he loves it. He got to have his coffee, and which is partly why I drink it, because I smell it sometimes. That looks good. And the it's bulletproof.
It does smell good.
Yeah.
Something about that smell.
Yeah.
It does. And I wasn't drinking coffee at all until I discovered bulletproof coffee, because I like creamy. I like the creamy thing, but then I didn't want to use cream. So I stopped drinking coffee, and then I discovered bulletproof. So I do have it, maybe 5 times a week.
So that's your favorite brand is bulletproof?
No, it's fine. It's a lovely brand. I can't even. Kicking Horse is one brand. It's escaping me. That's Mayhol's wheelhouse. We picked him out together at some point, and now he orders it, and but you look for like Longevity brand is one brand that we used to, that they test for mold, but do all those things. I know it's organic, mold free, and then have your coffee. Have it, but have 1 cup a day in the morning, and that's it. So, and try to really not have coffee after 3 p.m. They say so. Coffee has a half-life. I forget, was it 6 hours, 3 hours? So yeah, I think 6 hours. And now I'm forgetting exactly, but I remember 3 o'clock was like, for the typical going to bed at like 10 p.m. or something, you want to not have coffee beyond 3 p.m. because of the half-life of the caffeine. Yeah. So, I personally, you have your morning coffee, that's fine. 1 cup and be done with it. The good coffee. And if you bulletproof it, which is, again, to add the MCT oil or coconut oil or even butter, they use butter, some good quality fat. You stick it in a blender, and it makes it nice and creamy. We add, sometimes we add collagen peptides. You said you added hemp, and I always add cardamom because that cuts the acid. That's a little Ayurvedic.
What is it called?
Cardamom.
Cardamom?
It's a spice. Yep.
Okay.
It's that's a little Ayurvedic trick. Cuts the acid of the coffee, and I love the taste. But make it a really nice. You can make it a healthier drink. Sometimes, depending on the person, this could be a rabbit hole. But you can add some, reishi mushroom and things like that to it. But add some things that are nutritive, so they have some nutrition in it. And give you a little boost. And that's fine. I like. Yeah. That's one people are like. I'll come work with you. I'll do some. But don't you dare take away my coffee.
Yeah.
So I say, all right. I mean, sometimes if it turns out that coffee is a problem for them, and there are certain ways to tell, then we got to have a conversation. But otherwise, you do the things. Get a better quality. I get them on a better quality coffee. Get off, and forget the sugar.
Right.
And start with the bulletproof instead of cream, even, and you got a much healthier drink.
Yeah,
it's filling
people,
too.
Tend to reach for another cup midday. Have you found there's any alternatives that give them that afternoon kind of zest? That's
Qigong. Qigong is my alternative. Not food, but Qigong.
Is that a
energy
tea?
work? No, so you've heard of Tai Chi?
Okay.
So Tai Chi and Qigong. So I'm talking, so as far as beverage replacement, I don't really have a good alternative for that. If you're going to do something in the afternoon, if you really need it, you want to ask why. I think why are you having this crash? Mm-hmm. So if you need it to get through the day, again, have your little shot of espresso, but try a mushroom blend, I would say. Even certain teas, but herbal teas. But, sometimes if you have an herbal tea instead of the coffee, it's just like this habit. People think it's a little bit of it. Exactly. If you do try some herbal tea instead of the coffee, see if that works. Mm-hmm. But try something, again, nutritive, like, reishi mushroom or chaga mushrooms or something like that. It'll give you a little boost maybe. So that if you have to do something.
Will fruit, just raw fruit, will that give you a little?
It'll give you a little tiny sugar boost. That could do it for some people. Most of the people, I'm thinking back at the days at the lab, and everybody would congregate in the cafeteria at 3:00 for around the espresso machine. I feel like none of them would have been okay with fruit, but I'm just imagining this. I don't know.
No, put your coffee down. Have an apple. They'd be like, what? Kidding me?
But do I think it could work? Yeah, I do. I think it's
Movement.
Yeah, if you can get out of your mind about your coffee, and listen to, again, see how it feels in the body, and but I always recommend qigong. I think it's the best thing you could do in the morning, a little boost. So around back to Chinese medicine. So 3 to 5 o'clock, we're into kidney and bladder meridians, and okay, this is like where your real qi comes from, the boost. So kind of makes sense. People get tired. So what do? You tap on your kidneys. Tap lightly on the low to mid back. Tapping on your kidneys gives you a little boost. It's a really nice trick. And doing just opening this, because whether you're working on a computer or whatever you're doing, it's probably a lot of forward stuff. Sitting down, just get up and spinal cord breathing. Open up the chest, relax the chest. Open up the chest, relax the chest. Do this for a minute. Tap on the kidneys. Off you go.
Wow. Wow.
That's my answer to
Thank you.
the afternoon coffee.
So if we tell our young
Yeah.
friend Ellis here to do that, because he's young and powerful, but he's
energy
having
drinks?
one too many of them.
One too many. How many of those do you have a day?
One too many. 3, maybe. I don't know. I'm going back to coffee. I was in a rush today, so.
Monster energy drink.
Yeah.
Chemical. Yeah. Multiples. Like yeah, exactly. Chemical bomb in those.
Yes, there is.
Yeah, I would highly recommend coffee over that. So you got your hierarchy.
Can you believe that? And she just killed coffee for 25 minutes, and she highly recommends that over coffee.
Wait, I didn't quite kill coffee. Did I kill coffee?
No. Folgers is one of our sponsors, though. So we'll figure out what to do. They seem like they'd be moldy. That's what we keep in our house, and I'm afraid I've been drinking moldy coffee. I didn't even consider that was something.
Yeah. It's a thing. It's a thing.
Like mold?
Yeah.
Yeah. Most of the mold issues that people have, I mean, obviously you get it from your house and environment, but more so even from food. Ugh. It's that's a rabbit hole. It's horrible. Mm-hmm. It's sad, like mycotoxins, but food, sits around, the way it gets shipped and the way, especially imported, certain crops being imported, they're moldy.
Yeah.
But coffee tends to be a big one. But the good news is they're a company. It's going to be more expensive, but
again, it's your health. So
it's your health. It's worth it,
Shifting to slightly to hydration there, which is obviously so important, and the your way and the Paul Check ways, you need to have the right amount of water and so forth. But why don't we start first with not every water is the same.
Right.
Yeah. So that's...
What type of water are you drinking over there?
So this, I think it's actually Flow. My newest thing, I'm playing around with, and this is a Paul Check thing actually, a structure. I bought a wand, Analemma wand, I believe it's called, that structures the water. I don't know enough to speak too much about it. I just
he
got
does
it.
that a lot though.
Yes.
He talks about it a
and
lot.
I'm playing with it. It was $100 and something bucks. So I was like, I'm going to try this thing. Structuring the water. So it's Flow water, and then I stirred it with this wand. And I'm just drinking it out of a glass bottle that has beautiful dolphins etched on it. Because I mean,
with structuring the water, I'm not even sure what that is.
Is it adding hydrogen?
No, it's
that's different.
That's different.
Okay.
I don't know enough to speak.
We can have Alice look it up a little bit.
Yeah, intelligently about it, but so I believe the Analemma, I think 2 N's, ANNALEMMA, perhaps.
Yeah, so what I have here is that we are transferring the H2O molecules into a liquid crystalline structure. I don't really know what that means, but
Is it a magic wand?
It's a quartz tube, and inside the quartz tube is water that has been structured. So essentially, you're taking the water molecules and you're bringing them back to a healthy state. Is the simplest way I think I can.
So how long do you do that for?
1 minute. You stir it for a minute. 1 minute for each liter of water.
Okay.
And I don't know if it's worth. I'm like, I don't know. Am I feeling any different? I swear I can see the water getting smoother. It almost looks different as I'm stirring it. Like I almost know when the timer. Like I don't look at the timer, but I was like, oh, there it is. It's like it looks smoother, and I look, and it's got a few seconds left on the timer. I don't know, but it's restructuring the water. So the structure being, the molecules and restructuring them. So
life of water.
Yeah.
Yep.
And you may have heard of, I forget his name right now, but talking about if you write a message like the word love and you tape it to your water bottle, the water will pick up on the energy of that. So basically water, now I'm going a little,
No,
you might call it half woo-woo, half science.
No.
Water holds a lot. Water holds memories. Okay, it holds information. So what is what information is your water holding? So this is why I'm using this water bottle. So it's nice. It's glass, so it's not plastic. I did get it. The water I'm drinking is Flow. It came out of or whatever that plastic bottle is made of. And then I pour it in here. And it just sits in here, and I kind of put this in the sunlight when I think of it to do it. Sun's shining on it. I got water. I got dolphins and a little geometric shape on here that that's going in there and giving it some nice. But I don't know. Does it make a difference? I'm not sure. I believe it does. I can't necessarily say it's as tangible as some of the other things I do health-wise, but. The most important thing is please don't drink tap water.
I was just going to say, so
no
one should be drinking tap, right?
Please don't drink tap. Okay. Drink all the coffee you want. Don't drink tap water.
Crack a Monster?
Yeah. Well, that's 50-50. But our tap water's got so many chemicals in it. And it's different town to town. So what we did, we researched our town. We used to get water reports, which we don't anymore.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Unfortunately.
Yeah. They started putting chloramine in the water, which is, chlorine and ammonia mixed. That's just bad. I mean, chlorine's bad enough, but so you don't want to drink tap water. We had a filter. So, you filter the tap water. If you've got a Brita or a Zero filter, okay, you've got rid of all, the chemicals, but now you've got no minerals. So when my parents have a zero filter. When I'm over there and I'm drinking that water, I'm more dehydrated than I've ever been.
They're acidic, right?
It's acidic. It's also, it has no minerals. So the zero filters zero. It's very good. It kills, it doesn't kill. It filters out everything, and that includes minerals. So hydration is water plus minerals. It's not just water. And you need both. So you think of a cell. Every cell in the bottle, in your body has, a balance of minerals, of salts, and water, and that's what you want to maintain. So if you drink, if you're wondering why I drink so much water and I'm still dehydrated, or I drink a lot of water and I still get cramps, because you're drinking demineralized water. So add a little minerals to it. So my first thing about water, please just don't drink tap water. Either filter it or buy bottled water. And if you're filtering it, then add some minerals back in. Some say, you can add a pinch of sea salt. I find if you're working out, if you're playing tennis, if you're really active, it takes a little more than a pinch of sea salt. So I love Elements. LMNT is the brand, this powder. I love them. And it's a little salty. If you add, you'll know if you've added too much. If it tastes like you're drinking the ocean.
I love that taste, though.
I do too,
it's
actually.
A little briny almost.
It is briny.
We
love too much.
We love the orange.
Yeah.
The orange salt.
Orange. Okay, so
from LMNT.
Yeah. All right. I haven't. I just do unflavored. But if you're an athlete, you probably need it. You're sweating a lot.
Yep.
For any reason, if you're sweating a lot, it's probably best to drink mineral water, to add it back in. I find it true for actually most of my clients in general. They're just the minerals, not getting enough minerals. So, I mean, our food quality, you know, you get minerals in the foods, but it's from the soil. The minerals come from the soil. So if the soil quality is poor, you're not getting quite the minerals that you should be, or that we would expect out of the food. So add them back in. And that would be, you know, my number one thing for tennis or any sport is mineral water. Clean, purified water with minerals added back in. Or, you know, Flow. I love Flow. Mountain Valley is good too. And if you need more than that element.
We have a reverse osmosis system for our water. You still need to add
absolutely.
minerals for that.
RO water is just like the Brita and the Zero.
Okay.
You've got to add it back in.
Okay.
Yeah.
And that can be acidic too. Yeah.
It's being added by the system.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah. That's good. Yeah.
Yeah.
Nice.
Systems in the house.
But it's not fully alkalined. That's the thing.
It is
right?
pretty alkaline, that one there. Yeah, it is. It's not as alkaline as the one that you're getting now. Rach is getting some water from there's actually a water store now. I'm not sure the name of it, but
From Freshwater Daily in Middleton. It's like fully alkalined.
Okay. I don't know about
But
that.
would you say even if it's alkaline, you still need
Yes.
the minerals?
Yes.
Okay.
Absolutely. I just heard about a spring in Linfield, which who'd have thunk, but I haven't investigated. I just learned about it a couple days ago that someone I know gets water from a fresh spring in Linfield. So I'm going to investigate.
There you
that.
go.
I don't know.
Yeah.
We'll see. I mean, I'd love to stop buying bottled water, but I want, you know, so I use muscle kinesiology, you know, to test my body and does it like, so sometimes, again, you tune in to your body. Does it know? Does it like, you know, so for me, even the filtered tap water coming out of my house was not what my body wanted. It wants Flow and Mountain Valley. I'm like, all right, keep buying it. Cool.
yeah, Mountain Valley, that's the one you changed to, Kevin. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's
Yeah.
it's a good one.
Could be I feel like it tastes different than other water. I feel like I can actually, like, there's something about it. Erica's like, dude, it's in your mind. It's in your mind. I'm like, I don't think it is. I don't think it is. There's like,
there's a taste.
Yeah.
You have to, and that's listening to your body. What, you know, so we were drinking Fiji water for a while, and all of a sudden, I just didn't. Oh yeah, all of a sudden I didn't like it. I don't know why. You know, whatever. I mean, I'm like, and Mehul and I both had the same reaction. I don't know if they were bought out they were at some point. I was like, is that when it happened? But okay, whatever. Body says no. Go to something else.
There you go.
You know, and Mehul likes, you know, Evian for. He
Evian.
feels like it gives him you know, boost for tennis, so he likes Evian. And
when he drinks, he
and
usually
the
has good
element.
reflexes, isn't it? He's very good. Evian, if he doesn't,
Yeah, you could tell if he's been drinking what he's been drinking, right? But you got to have the minerals. Just it's important.
And
you don't even, I mean, you just assume.
I know.
You're like, water, no matter where you're getting
I
it from.
know.
You're like, if you're buying it, like, this has got to be doing me
Right.
good. I'm drinking water. I'm being healthy, but
Right.
you can be like not getting anything you actually need out of it.
Right.
And you can be dehydrating. Like I said, that Zero water makes me more
Which is
dehydrated.
crazy. The idea of
It is
drinking water
crazy.
and
you're
being
drinking water and
dehydrated.
becoming more dehydrated because you're diluting out the minerals. Because I was drinking a lot of it. I mean, I was like, I kept getting more thirsty as I was
Right.
drinking. Like, what is happening?
And the amount of water, the Paul Chek and the Czech Institute is half of your body weight in ounces. Do you
Yes.
follow? Do you think that's kind of like? Yeah.
I do, and
So
I find it works for me.
Yeah.
And I will know. I mean, my body will tell me. I'm be like, oh yeah, I didn't have. So I know how many ounces that is. I mean, my brain works a little bit more in liters, but I know what I need to drink. And when I do, so it's funny. At home, we're like, you know, we like to warm it and try not to drink cold water. This is big too. So drink room temperature water because the cold water puts out the digestive fire. You know, especially. That's all I'll say about.
We talked with our kids not too long ago about them having their ice waters when they. Like this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Try and not do that, but yeah, you know, so measuring the amount of water you drink. I mean, not being, you know, you can just. So Mehul and I sometimes will share water, but like we're trying to keep it separate because I got to know how much I just want to pay attention because I'll go in a zone with whatever I'm doing. I just forget. And I'm sitting there and I'm like, oh, I'm getting thirsty, but I got to finish this. just good up, and go get a drink. No, but I got to finish this. And so, just like if I forgot and I left my water bottle somewhere else, I freak out. But like, paying attention to how much water you drink.
Obviously, on a hot day, shifting a little bit to a physical activity, tennis, obviously, or something else. Do you up that intake?
Yes.
A little bit, right? If you add that exercise and the sweating, obviously, and
Absolutely.
everything that goes.
So half your body weight in ounces is a good measure for a regular day.
Yep.
So if you're playing a lot of tennis that day or doing something, a lot of sweating, up that amount.
Yep.
That's a little intuition's going to have to come in as to how much. But the more you're sweating, the more you need to replenish that. So half your body weight in ounces is is just on a regular day.
And that goes a lot for us, for the tennis pros who are on the court quite a bit.
Yeah.
You got to really up that up.
Yes.
Especially in the summer. You guys are just under the sun teaching all day long.
Yeah.
They must need twice as much, right?
Yep. And
we do go through a lot, yeah.
Yeah. So, if you're drinking mineral water, again, you don't want too many minerals and you don't want lack of minerals. So you find that sweet spot. But if you're drinking your good, mineral water, there is a such thing as overdoing it, but not so much if you have the minerals. Like I said, you can overdo it with, demineralized water. But if you're drinking mineral water, just keep, if you start peeing like crazy, then you'll know, okay, I'm good. Maybe I can cut back a little bit, but you just go, if you're in doubt, if you've had enough, just drink more.
Yeah.
Do you, do you basically drink water? Like, I can't see you cracking a Coke.
Oh,
can of Coke. So what do you do? What do you put in besides water? Or do you basically just go water?
Water.
Yeah,
but,
you do.
I didn't grow up with soda. So, kudos to my parents. They did not let us drink soda. And so I never I have no, that's all I can say about that. I don't like it, but it's so bad for you. Yeah. So again, coffee is moving up the list fast,
Right. Right.
It's just drink, anything but soda, man. And it's anything but diet soda. So soda's bad enough with all the sugar, but artificial sweeteners, that'll do you in. There's so much science now, and you don't even need the science. It's just obvious to me. But artificial sweeteners and various diseases, it's bad. So if you really must have a soda, try not to, but please don't have a diet soda. The regular Coke's better than the Diet Coke.
Isn't it that it's being sold as a better alternative, but in reality,
and read the ingredients. If there's any artificial sweetener, don't. If there's, they all have, I think, high fructose corn syrup. Yeah, that's so bad. It's like that's just.
Isn't it sad where the society is right now? That it's like you see it everywhere. It's cheaper than water.
Yep.
It's kind of becoming part of like this is what you do. You get a burger, fries, and a Coke.
Right.
And, you can't ask for a water.
It's amazing because
the
cups too that you can get. Like you get the cup sizes at any fast food place is, I don't know, you must be able to fit 4 cans of Coke in one thing that you can possibly take down in one sitting.
Yeah. And if it's cheaper, anything that's that cheap is kind of a red flag. I think.
To piggyback on that, did you feed your child milk? And what are your thoughts on milk for kids?
Well,
oh my God, she just killed coffee. Is she going to kill milk first? No. I'm just kidding.
If I knew now, what I didn't know then. So my daughter's 30. What year is this? She's in her 30s. So it was a long time ago, and I didn't know squat back then. Obviously, breast milk is the best if you can do that. Mm-hmm. If not, so feeding. So you're talking about like infant or when they're transitioning? Toddler.
They transition out of the infant stage.
Yeah.
And they say, okay, now you can introduce milk.
Yeah. As they always say. I don't think it's completely evil. So here's the thing with milk and dairy in general. So it's hard for a lot of people to digest.
Right.
So the earlier you have it, so it's you just have to notice. I have milk. I don't really have milk. I have like a dairy product of some kind, usually a cheese once in a while. so I have grandchildren. So and they don't really have milk in the house, but they will have some milk here and there. They don't keep them away from milk, and I would agree with that. I would do that too. So again, try and buy the best dairy you can. So I don't avoid it, but I minimize it. You know, and you just have to see how the person or the child does with it. Dairy. So you'll know if you're allergic to dairy if you've got skin problems. That's a big clue. And so watch for acne is a big one. A child isn't going to get acne that young, but just watch for itching or rashes or distended belly. You know, if they're not digesting it, there'll be clues, or if they're getting agitated or not sleeping or things like that. You just watch for those clues. If there's no problem, drink the milk here and there, not every day. You know, I would definitely, if you're going to have milk, do it, you know, a couple times a week, try and rotate it, but dairy every day, anything every day, really, except for water, isn't really good for the body.
How, like when I was a kid, does the body good.
Every night
at dinner.
Every night, I did too.
Throwing down glasses of milk.
I did too. I had it. It was provided to me every night, even when on St. Patty's Day one year, my Italian grandmother was babysitting us, and she thought it would be cute to add green food coloring to the milk for St. Patty's Day. It has to be one of the most disgusting things ever, but we had to drink it.
Well, even like school lunches, you get the cartons of milk.
Yeah, you still get the milk.
So like for what we do is we do organic whole milk.
Yes.
So you want, if you're going to do it, you want the whole milk.
If you're going to do it, the less bad way is, you know, organic and whole milk, absolutely.
And then I do also organic whole milk, but it's A2. Have you ever heard of A2 milk?
No.
I heard that it was, if you're going to do regular cow's milk, to do organic, do the whole milk, and then also do the A2. Sorry. And it's like a different, I guess there's like one less hormone in there.
Oh, okay.
And it's supposed to be easier to digest.
Okay. That sounds good. Yeah, I'm not familiar with that, but it sounds good. The less hormones, the better.
That's what I've been doing.
You know, yeah.
I don't know. It's just there's so many things to know, or
right.
It's just so hard to navigate, especially when you're feeding your kids.
It is. So you know Appleton Farm in on the Hamilton Ipswich border.
Oh yes.
Yeah.
In the North Shore.
On 1A on the North Shore. So they have their own cows. So I don't know if it's still the same. So back in the day, before the trustees bought it, I went there to meet the cow day. And because this is how serious I get sometimes, I want to know where everything's coming from. So we met the cows, and I asked about their diet, and you know, they eat hay most of the time, and blah blah blah. So you just like you're already doing it. You do your research on the product. What did the animal eat? How is it treated? And do the best you can with that. But Appleton, back then anyway, and maybe still today, they had pretty good quality milk. So when we did buy milk, we'd get it there, and you still had the cream on top and all that stuff from the farm. So
would you ever eat raw milk?
I would. I haven't, because I really don't drink milk, but I was looking for it. It's hard to find.
It's very
hard to find, especially in the state. You know, some states are more strict.
New Hampshire
about that.
allows it, and Massachusetts does not.
Right.
Yeah.
So yeah, I would. I don't know how I feel about it for a small child. Probably fine, because it's fine. You know, but if I were to use milk and I could get my hands on some raw milk, that's what I would do.
That would be your go-to?
Yeah.
Meet the cow day.
Oh yeah.
I like.
It'd be funny if you go there and they're all drinking coffee.
Do you work with your clients? Is breathing a part of your approach on looking at somebody? It's our most immediate need.
Absolutely.
Obviously, but you get into that.
Yes, I do.
Quite a bit, right?
And I teach Tai Chi and Qigong, and we talk about breathing a lot in my classes, and I do that with clients if it's needed, and it's maybe 50% of the time the clients could use some
what do you see? Do you see shallow breathers? Do you see mouth breathers? Do you see all of that?
Mostly shallow. So the mouth breathing, I'll come back to, I was thinking about that with tennis. I'll come back to that in a second. But the shallow breathing is mostly what I see, and an inability to remain rooted and calm. So breathing's your best strategy. And breathing in and of itself is a strategy. So there's a way to breathe for this. There's a way to breathe for that, all the different things. So that's a huge topic. And so, but yeah, the number one thing is to breathe into your belly. So, a lot of people are breathing, as we age and as we get stressed, we breathe in the chest and, these shallow and up here, and we hold all this energy up here in the chest. And so it's important to bring it down. Yeah. Bring it down. When you take an inhale, the lower abdomen expands first. And then the breath moves up a little bit into the chest. So it's a 3-part breath, which they do in yoga and other things as well, but we do it in Qigong as well. So first, just breathing into the abdomen. You put your hands on your abdomen and notice as you inhale, is your abdomen even moving? So if they take a breath and the chest comes up and the abdomen's not really doing anything, okay, that's a problem. Creating a lot of stress for yourself. You're creating physical tension just in the muscles, but you're telling your body that it's not okay. So that is sending a stress signal to the body. So stress hormones start to come out.
Start to, activate, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
So number one thing is, the place to start, I would say the place to start is, notice, is your lower abdomen expanding with the inhale?
Should go out.
Yep. Should go out. And not to worry about holding your gut in and all this kind of stuff.
Which is a big part, right? It's a massive part because we tell that to, and it's obviously an old saying, like take a deep breath and so forth. But it is so important when people play a match, and the intensity of the match gets to them, and the scoring and whatever else goes there. Like to ground yourself with a couple of breaths. It's so important to bring you back. Because if you're staying up, you're in that fight or flight, and you're not thinking clearly. Right. You're not just ground.
Yes.
Right.
Ground is if when you're in here, you're in fight or flight.
Yeah.
And I was going to say your energy is up here. It's not down here. And you need to root to rise. I mean, it's very true if you've heard that. So, even for your serve, for your every point, if you're up here, you can't even get the power in the legs. Correct. You're not connecting downward. Maria Sharapova she's the one that comes to my mind for whatever reason. She would take that breath. I can see her. She between every point when she was on her serve, she was so good at regrouping. And a lot of players do it. I don't know. She seemed to be really good at that particular thing. Like she'd come back and I would notice her breath, and I just saw her take that breath, and it would regroup, and then boom, then you go on. So after every point, good, bad, or otherwise, after every point, take a breath, and on the exhale, sink the energy down to what's called the dantian, below the navel. Just sink it down into the lower abdomen. So not only does it bring your energy to the battery, this is the battery, but it centers you. If your center of gravity is up here, you're not balanced. This is where, imagine if you walked around and this was you'd be falling over. Your center of gravity is down here. And that's where you want to keep it. So breath, the best way to get it back down there, and especially after losing a point, you get upset, is to take a breath. On the exhale, you just sink it down, follow it down. It lands right here. You're ready to go.
Yeah, you feel it. I just did it now, and you feel that going all the way down. Yeah.
Yes, and it's calming, but it also sends a message to your body that it's okay. Everything is okay. Parasympathetic, we're ready to go. But it's very grounding, like you said.
That takes a little work to breathe like that naturally. I was just read a book on breathing that he had. I don't know if you recommended or something. I don't know if I found
talked about it before. Yeah,
read it, and again, just like water. I'm like, I listened. I actually had someone read it to me, a book on tape, but I'm like, man, I'm breathing wrong. Like you just take I'm doing it, and then I realized I wasn't even close to, what does he say? 4 seconds.
That's the box breathing.
In and I'm just everyone breathes way too shallow, and getting yourself used to even just staying with a breath until it's all the way out is, man, that takes some practice to actually breathe like that. It's I don't know where you get away from doing it, but at some point, like I suck through my mouth when I wake up sometimes in the morning. I'm like, my mouth is so dry. Everything is so short, shallow. Like I have to actually focus to breathe like that, which is like.
Well, that's okay. That's when I first, it was many years ago, I was taking a yoga class and the guy was breathing and his belly was expanding and he noticed, I was like, how does your belly expand when you're inhaling? What is that happening? And he just looked at me like I was nuts and I didn't understand either. But it takes some practice. But we get that way from stress and just, so, if you notice when you're stressed, even if you have the abdominal breathing, you know how to do it. When you get stressed out, it goes right up here and you just, and so then you have to get it, but during the moment of stress, you leave it, you're not worrying about that right now, but it gets that way. And then we learn, you stay that way. But if you ever notice a brand new baby breathing, their abdomen is expanding, not their chest. Right. So they know how to do it. They just, as they age and stress starts to happen, the center of gravity moves up, the stress stays up here. But,
and that's something you can work on through just daily practice of breathing, or yoga, or doing other
just breathing.
Things
You don't need to do anything except the best way to do it when you're first starting is to lie down on your back and put something, like one of these bottles of 500 ml bottles of Fiji water or something that like that on your lower abdomen and just watch. So is it rising, and just notice, is my chest, and of course, you want to bring breath into the lungs as well. So the chest will expand, but it shouldn't really go up so much as like out. It will go up a little bit, but it should be toward the end of the breath. But you just practice and you send a little intention. The breath does not like to be forced to do anything. So if you sit there and you're like, all right, come on, abdomen, expand, and breath, go into, it will not, it will like rebel.
Right.
So this is it's a exercise in patience, but you just give a slight hint to the breath to go, to go into the abdomen. And you can even like imagine a straw. This was a good way. And the straw goes all the way from your nostril down into your abdomen. And as you're breathing in through your nostrils, follow the breath down the straw and it expands the abdomen. That helps some people. But, and then lying on your back helps a lot of people too. It's just easier to send the breath to the abdomen that way and to see it if it's actually happening.
Yeah.
But it's really important to do. And, again, it's another, and coming back to the mouth breathing. Have you heard of taping the mouth, the lips?
I have.
That's in that book, Breath or Breathe or Breath. Nestor.
James Nestor. Yeah.
James Nestor.
Yep.
It's actually it's worth trying to do. Tape your mouth like a little vertical, not a horizontal tape, but a little vertical tape to keep the mouth shut. And for tennis and for any sport, breathe through your nose as much as you can. When you're out of breath and you need to breathe through your mouth, of course you do that. Yeah. But like Djokovic, if you remember way back in his early days, he was such a mouth breather. Like I noticed these things. So this is what I do.
You knew it then?
I was like, oh my God. And Alcaraz, I watch him, it drives me nuts. He's a great player. They're all good.
Do you think that's why he's cramping?
Oh, is he?
He cramps on the. So I wonder if that has something to do with.
Could be.
Because he cramps and he has some in big matches, tension matches, nerves obviously too. But does the breathing have something to do with that?
So when you're mouth breathing, that's a huge signal to the body that you're in trouble.
Yeah,
stress. Because that's how we breathe when we're out of breath and shit hit the fan kind of thing, and you got to do something about it. So. So his body's now probably releasing certain hormones, doing certain things that could lead to cramping for sure.
It happened in some big matches last year.
Okay.
Yeah, and they said they're working on it, so I wonder if that's
that
one thing they're addressing.
Okay. I mean, I don't know what his water situation is, but that it would be the first place to look. But I look at him and he's always, I don't know if maybe his mouth's just hanging open and he's breathing through his nose. It's possible.
But go back to Djokovic because
so Djokovic used to be big time mouth breather. And then, he changed his diet. He did the whole, really looked at his diet, did all the things. So he was mouth breathing because he was always stuffed up because he was eating foods that inflamed him. But so yeah, the change of diet, obviously that helps, takes inflammation down. Now he's
following
digesting better.
the Paul Chek protocol, right?
He follows Paul Chek, doesn't he?
I don't know if he follows Paul Chek, but he does all the things.
I think that's what
does
he
he
shifted
really?
to. I think so.
Oh,
You were
I
saying that,
didn't
Rach?
even know-
Yeah.
I didn't even know that. Okay, I'm not surprised. It makes sense because he does all the things. But I mean, look at what it did for him. But he also can breathe better. I noticed that, and it's like, but so I'm watching these players and I'm noticing all these little things, and back in the day, Radwanska, who I used to really like.
Aga.
Yeah, and she did well for a while, and then we used to hear her talking about how she'd go to the Cheesecake Factory.
Oh yeah.
Every
Yeah.
that was her place. I'm like, oh dear, and here we are. But
Yeah.
Even getting in through your nose, you have to. I'm naturally through my mouth, so a while ago I Googled. I'm like, man, looking for tips to how do I not mouth breathe? Tip number 1, you know what it was? It's so obvious. Just keep your mouth shut. I didn't even read the rest of the list. That's literally what it was. And I found when I'm driving, when I'm doing other things, I just try to remember to just simply keep my mouth shut. Yep. And it naturally happens. I'm just I guess that was just sitting around with my mouth wide open before.
Do you have trouble breathing through your nose at all?
No,
Okay,
no, it's just
kind of habit.
Yeah, it's like a bad. It's like a bad habit that I've gotten into.
Do the tape during the day. So you start off with it during the day when you're driving by yourself or hanging around by yourself or whatever, and you don't need to talk to anybody.
I wish I was a person next to you seeing you.
Tape your mouth. Tape.
I do the taping too, but that's
yeah. No, it's kind of frustrating because I actually want to try to get it to change, but I can't. Every time I catch myself, I'm like, man, I'm constantly in through, just in and out through my mouth, and I don't have. It's not very clear when I go in through my nose. It's not like there's any block there or anything. My body's choosing
habit.
That, but I guess
So
habit.
The tape, the best way I think is tape it shut, and it'll train your mouth to stay shut.
You can train it just through.
You can. So start with that during the day, and make sure you get the right kind of tape, which I can give you later if I can think of it, but you don't want something that's going to rip your skin off. So there's, special tape that you can buy that just gentle on your skin, but tape your mouth shut.
You've been taping at night for a couple of years.
Yep.
Do you still do it every night, or
occasionally if I feel like I need to, but at this point it's just
it changed it?
Yeah, I mean, is the idea to eventually not have to do it?
Yeah.
You do it for enough, and then your body just starts.
Yeah, I don't always do it, but also has the function of keeping your jaw a little closer, so that way it doesn't fall back from the snoring and everything that comes with it.
Right. It's kind of meant to help snoring in large part as well, which it does minimally, I would say, in my experience. But it does help, but it could use a little more help. But it does. But with the mouth breathing, it'll help with that.
Let's shift towards a big one in my book, sleeping, optimizing that, and how overlooked it is, and right,
it's the key to longevity.
I know, right?
Right there.
Yeah.
So simple, and it's my elusive one too. It's 11 o'clock is still my mostly when I go to bed, I'm looking at the clock like 10:55. Get in there before you. But 10 to 6 are the ultimate hours, if you can do that, So we talked about why, but some research has shown that the hours between 10 p.m. and 2 a.m. is when your physical body rejuvenates, and from 2 a.m. to 6 a.m. is when your mental, emotional body rejuvenates. So you don't want to really shortchange either one of those. And then, as we talked about, by 11 p.m. you start with the monkey mind, and getting busy. But so, and then obviously trying to get a good night's sleep, is the thing. But so the 10 to 6, if we were, so I just went to Costa Rica for a vacation. And
I heard. Was it a good time?
Oh my God, it was fantastic. Fantastic. What I loved, I loved the whole thing. What I really loved too is, it got dark. When it gets dark, that's it. You go to bed. We were going to bed at we're usually later, we're usually the 10:30, 11 p.m. kind of people. But I don't know. There was one night we went to bed at 8 o'clock or something. It was crazy. and up at 5:45 with the birds, and
Love
but so
that.
down with the sun, up with the sun.
And you feel
It
different.
was fantastic.
Isn't it amazing?
Why can't I do this at home?
Yeah.
Well, life, but it's amazing how much
Yeah.
more energetic. I don't know. It just
Everything is just
everything
firing. Yeah.
is just firing. So it's like, wow, this is. I mean, it's true. It's really true. And so 10 to 6 should be easy, but it's not.
That's you hear all the tennis players how they have to. I mean, Federer is well known that he'd like to sleep like close to 12 hours at times if he could, and they prioritize that. But the new schedule is a big thing in the tournaments because they want to get the ratings and everything else, and they have them play until 2-3 in the morning.
Yeah.
And now for that player to wind down, to get the adrenaline to a level that he can fall asleep to do
Right.
the recovery exercise, everything else, sometimes they go to bed at 5-6 in the morning.
Yeah.
So now you ask them to come play again, sometimes even the next day. 2 years ago, Zverev played a match so late in Madrid. I think he went to bed at 5 a.m. and he had to come back and play Alcaraz in the final.
Yeah.
And it was a no match. It's like, look, I'm sorry, I feel bad for the fans, but
Yeah.
I can't.
Right.
I couldn't recover. And in Grand Slam, that happens. Grand Slams happens a lot.
It
They do
does.
have a day to recover, but that will throw you off, right?
Right. Oh, it will. And so they're learning that you can't get it back. You
Yep.
know, so I had a couple late nights there. I'll sleep a little extra. You can't get it back.
Yeah.
Which is disappointing to me.
I
You
know.
know, oh man, I thought I at least could get it back. But it's your body. It takes a hit. Your body takes a hit. I mean, we all know that have less energy when we don't sleep well. But when you, your functions, your body's just not functioning. Never mind optimally, but it's barely probably getting by through the day when you have that kind of stuff. Like these tennis players have. It's horrible. But
Yeah.
but when you do it, just a little bit every day, we're going to bed at midnight or something, and some people go to bed maybe at a decent time and they wake up at 3-4 o'clock and they're like, all right, I'm up for the day. I know a few people who are like that. I'm up for the day. Like, oof,
Yeah.
not a good idea. I mean, like Paul Check right now, he's writing his book and he says he's getting up at 3:30 in the morning or whatever to write his book. I don't know. Because that's when he's got quiet time,
Quiet
in the house
time,
and whatever.
yeah.
I understand. Sometimes you just that's what you're going to choose to do. But going to bed late, getting up too early, both are going to shortchange the body in some way, I
Yeah.
think.
Yeah, it's so overlooked.
It's so overlooked. It's all you have
Right?
to do. All you have to do is go to bed. Aim for 10 o'clock. If it's at least before 11, okay, aim for 10. Make sure it's before 11. And then, you kind of get up when you get up, like if you have to get up, but try not, like, if you get up at 6, great. If you get up at 7 a.m., cool, that's fine too. Everybody needs a little bit different number of hours of sleep, but, this whole waking up at 4 a.m. or even 5 a.m. to me is not quite it. Whenever the sun comes up, so, if it's 5:30, 6 o'clock, okay, now that makes sense.
And varies, right, per season, right? In the summers, you're going to sleep a little bit less. And in the winter, you're to hibernation in a way, you sleep a little bit more.
Yes. And again, it's listen to your body.
Yeah.
I did notice, and sometime in January, whenever, like right when winter hit, I was just, all of a sudden, I'm, 8 a.m. sometimes. I don't get up till 8 a.m. or whatever, but just let my body do
Yeah.
it, unless I had to get up. But let my body do its thing.
Yeah.
And I've heard a lot of people say that this winter they're sleeping late. People, I don't know
There you
what's
go.
going on, but if you need it, you need it.
I notice it when it shifts into fall.
Yeah.
Like in November, all of a sudden you just feel like just more tired. Like your body
Yeah.
needs more sleep. Like you turn the clocks back and it's darker earlier, and it's just, it's like you're shifting into that winter mode.
Our bodies know, you live by the seasons. It makes total sense. And this, the daylight savings time.
That's so silly.
It's so silly. It's
such a charade.
Not good. It is.
Let's all pretend tomorrow it's a different day.
Yeah.
it's a different time. Like,
Yeah. And they're again, there are studies that say more heart attacks, more driving, more accidents, more because people are miss their sleep, you know, and it really throws me off.
Can you look up like
it's silly.
what's the is it dead? It's not plugged in?
It is. It just died now.
Oh, okay. No, it's okay. It's all right.
You want to know the reason for daylight savings time?
Yeah.
It's money is the reason.
Money.
Because, it was about extending the workday. It doesn't make sense because you still have the same number of hours, but I don't know. It had to do with something having to do with, I don't remember the exact thing, but just work more.
Oh, the sleep thing is funny because I kind of adjusted my sleep schedule in the fall, so not that long ago, maybe in October, but I wasn't getting enough sleep for 25 years.
Yeah.
But I didn't realize it. I was like, we actually did one of these over the summer, and I was making fun of his sleep schedule. And I was saying how I could never change mine. I'm like, no, it is what it is. You don't understand. I'm like, I'm feeling great, this and that. But then when I adjusted it, after a certain amount of time, I never felt better. I never felt better, and I realized, like, geez, I'm like, I think I've been at 70% for the last 30 years. But you don't necessarily feel terrible when you're not getting it, because that's what you're getting. So you just assume that's what your body.
Right.
You think that's you at 100% until you're actually at 100%. You're like, wow.
Right.
I've been at 75% for the last 30 years.
Yeah.
You know, whoops.
Yep.
Like, you know.
Yep. Yeah. When I have a stretch of getting into bed by 10 o'clock, I am feeling so good. And I do get up earlier. You know, I'll naturally wake up then between 6 and 7, and I just feel damn good. You know, it's amazing. 10 o'clock makes such a difference.
Yeah, your eyes open and you're ready to go. Yeah. I used to have to drag myself out of bed. I'd set my alarm like an hour early, and then I'd hit sleep for an hour every 10 minutes. I'm like going back in, driving my wife crazy, you know. But now my eyes, a lot of times my eyes pop open a little before my alarm goes off, and I'm just like ready to get up and go.
Isn't it wonderful?
That's a sign. Yeah. You realize that, like, it puts your whole day on a different course.
It does.
Like,
it absolutely does.
Didn't have to. You're dragging yourself out of bed. You're dragging yourself to like the rest of the day.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah.
And people don't realize that. I mean, the lack of sleep can cause constipation. It can cause diet. It can do so many things to your body that So like hormones probably are the biggest thing. If the number one thing women can do to balance their hormones is sleep.
That's good to know. Yeah.
Any tips for parents who get woken up at night by their kids? So how do you just have to get through those little kid years?
Yeah, my daughter's going through that right now. It's miserable. There are so many. So my daughter's tried absolutely everything. She's got a 2-year-old and a 4-month-old, and they've tried all the things, and nothing is happening. So there are, like, rubbing the baby's feet and doing these things, but I think you just have to get through it. There's one little, and this is going to be a little out there as well, but so my daughter, for example, has tried everything. Magnesium. She was trying magnesium on the 2-year-old's belly. That helped a little bit. So they say, why are these kids, like my 2-year-old, like, she just doesn't sleep. This child will not sleep. If this is another Chinese medicine thing, if the heart, so sleep is rooted in the heart, they say. If the heart is, again, busy or not rooted, if the spirit isn't fully rooted, and it happens a lot in kids, they're just maybe, I don't know why exactly, but spirit's not quite rooted. They're just busy and they're not sleeping. So, okay, what do you do about that? Some acupressure, maybe even acupuncture, depending on how old the child is. That's what, I'm trying to see if my daughter will do that with, but, rooting, grounding. But I don't, the magnesium was helpful a little bit. And that's That's the only thing.
Or
that did
even
anything,
tips for the parents that are dealing with that because they're feeling terrible.
right. And
mentally, physically.
exactly.
It's like, what can they do? Like, is there certain vitamins that they can take to help feel a little healthier?
Yep. So what I would say there are, and so what you kind of start feeling it, you get drained, the adrenals, the kidneys get drained. So to boost that, holy basil, tulsi. Do you know tulsi? It's an herb. You can buy tulsi tea at pretty much anywhere at the grocery store. Tulsi. It's also called holy basil. Ashwagandha.
In a supplement form? Or?
Either, supplement or a powder. You can add that to tea as well. Things to boost adrenals, basically.
Okay.
So I know holy basil, ashwagandha are good ones. Erythro root. There's another big one that I can't think of in the moment, but those are good for boosting the adrenals to get through it.
Okay.
Yeah, it's just the time you gotta grit your teeth. Get
I
through.
know. I wish I
And it's funny that you
wish I could
said
figure
you
it out.
can't get that time back because one good night's sleep doesn't erase if your kid's going through a sleep regression or something and you've had weeks of wake ups.
Yeah.
If you have one night where you sleep good, it's not like you wake up that next day and you're like,
It's all
I'm
better.
better. It's
Right.
like it takes so long to recover
It does.
from that.
It does. Yep.
Yeah.
I wish I wish I had something for better for you, but
We're luckily like on the other side of it. He's
Oh,
4
good.
now, but like there's nights he still needs us. It's a bad dream. You know,
Yeah.
they get smarter, and then all of a sudden they're dreaming, and then the dreams are waking them up, and then
Meanwhile, they're like back out cold.
Yeah.
For the rest, and they're up for the rest of the night with a sweaty kid on your
Yeah.
shoulder. You're like, all right.
or they
Yep.
start
Good
school.
luck.
You
Yep.
know, they start preschool, and then they're always sick. So then those are wake ups. So it's like it's always something.
yeah.
So it's like so interesting to learn. Like, okay, what can we do to feel healthy during this
Right.
time of early childhood?
Right. Vitamin C as well.
Vitamin C.
Yeah,
Okay.
vitamin C, and then things for the adrenals like the holy basil, ashwagandha, erythro root. That's what I would recommend. Just keeping that's
Stay hydrated.
Yeah, right.
all the things that we've talked about.
Right.
Don't drink.
Yeah. Forget the alcohol. But and I won't take away your coffee during that time for sure. I won't take it away ever, but just get better about what kind of coffee.
Yeah.
But take care of your adrenals.
Interesting.
And still on sleep before we move on, because we hear lately, you hear that Dr. Matt Walker is big on this and about the need for sleep for teenagers being different and how do you know much about that? Because a lot of our juniors, right, and they have to go to school early and so forth, but they like to stay a little bit later. They need to sleep in a lot more,
Yes.
and that kind of throws them off,
It
right?
does. Teenagers do need a lot more sleep
Yeah.
than adults and than the rest of us, and it's being ignored, and that's terrible.
Yeah.
Because the whole getting up early and catching the school bus at whatever time or being driven to school, it's. I mean, no wonder they're all walking around kind of in that daze, and they seem cranky in the morning and whatever. It's they're not. Because and then most of them have a very busy schedule and all the homework, so they're probably not getting to bed.
Yeah, you hear them. I
particularly
did homework
early
until
either.
like 10, 11
Yeah.
o'clock, and then you got to wake up.
Yeah,
And
I can't believe this is still going on.
Yeah.
Like that people aren't doing something to. I did a science fair when I was back at the lab. I used to go around and do some science stuff for kids at school, and I was at a private school, and I did my little lecture and explained some sciencey things and did all that. And then I was talking to the kids afterwards, and this one kid he was losing his hair.
oh boy.
He was having all kinds of stress problems like that. And he asked, he's like, what do I do? What do I do?
Oh.
And they were trying to, it was heartbreaking. It was horrible. I think they were juniors. They were like about to apply for colleges and all the pressure about getting into college. And then the homework and the whole thing. And, so we brought one of the teachers over and we're just talking to her about it. And she's like, my hands are tied. And it's just, it goes up the chain. But
Yeah.
People need to realize this.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, this kid was losing his hair. He had bald spots, and it was like, and depression. So now you've got depression, and
Of
you wonder
course.
why. I mean, there's all kinds of other reasons too, but this is a big one.
Yeah. That's so it's not to be ignored. That's
No,
for sure.
it should be taken seriously.
Yeah. Alrighty, now on movement, just not too much on that, but
Okay, yeah.
I know there's a big one. Do you with your clients and everybody you work with? Obviously, that's a big part of getting people back in balance and so forth. And do you kind of look to see where they're at? Do you have a specific routine for them, or like what are things you're in that domain you get after?
Yeah, what I see lately more often than not is overworking. So it used to be a bunch of couch potatoes and this kind of thing, and now it's people working a little too hard and not resting and not taking. So, you know, my biggest piece of advice is for every workout you do a work-in. So a workout is, you know, your sport, whatever you're doing, whether you're playing tennis or you're going to the gym or whatever. So working out, you're sweating, you're breathing hard, you're expending energy. So it's like a bank account. If you just keep expending energy and not putting anything back, you're going to run out. So every time you do a workout, do a work-in. And you can't really, you can't really overdo the work-ins. You can underdo the workouts, you know, but so it should be fairly even. So what is a work-in? A work-in is movement where you can still carry on a conversation. You're not breathing too heavy. You're not really sweating. So Qigong, yoga, Tai Chi, stretching, these kinds of things. That's a work-in. So you're replenishing your energy. So again, just think of it like a bank account. And my biggest advice, you know, I see this in, you know, the water sports world that I was a big part of, the tennis world. People aren't doing that. Yeah. I was at the gym this morning. I was just riding a bike, and I got off the bike and I was waiting for Mehul. So I was standing there stretching my quad, and this older guy says, "Oh, did you get cramped up on the bike?" Well, I'm just stretching, like stretch, you know. You don't just stretch. Like, what are you doing? Are you hurt? No, I'm just stretching.
That's it.
Because I just did the work out. Now I'm going to do the stretch. But people, they know, stretch, but they don't do it.
So important, right? And the older you get, the more important it gets.
Absolutely. Yeah. So it just, you know, before you get on the court, warm up. If you don't have time to do a major warm up, do some breathing and just center. And that's kind of a work, because you're filling the tank. So just fill the tank in whatever way works for you as much as you can. Then, you know, spend the money, go on the court. When you get off the court, you know, it doesn't have to be right away. I mean, when you're warm, it's nice, but whatever. At some point, you stretch, but also do some kind of, I mean, I'm partial to Tai Chi and Qigong. I can't talk highly enough about Tai Chi and Qigong, what they've both done for me as far as energy reserves and the whole thing. But, you know, yoga's great too. All of that, to not only the physical parts of them, the stretching, like yoga, yeah, it's great for stretching, but it's also an energy practice. You're replenishing.
Yeah.
So that is my biggest thing is work in for every workout.
That's what Rachel's taking me tonight. She's taking me to yoga. That's what we're doing.
Great. Very
I'll
good.
be the best one there. I won't do anything remotely clean there, but I'll try.
that idea of sort of just like I'm trying to work on it myself is I used to always think stretching I'd do it before or after I played, like making it sort of a practice on its own where you're just maybe daily or certain days doing something where you're just stretching your body a little bit. Like I think a lot of people think of like you do it for your activity instead of just like doing it for your body. On a day-to-day type basis. Right.
Yeah, it needs a different mindset around it. Yeah, it's great to do after your sport. It's also just do it anytime. You know, not cold. You know, not cold stretching. Like if you're gonna stretch, some stretches you can do cold, like if they're really gentle and stuff. But so that's a whole topic unto itself. But stretch just as a thing on its own, absolutely. And I
feels so good. It's amazing. It's something that is
You do
you're
feel
like,
good.
Yeah,
You just
you
feel
do
the-
once you-
yeah.
yeah.
I mean,
Yeah,
hey,
it is.
blood flow,
Yeah.
and
Right.
chi flow. Imagine
Right.
that. You know, nice long muscles, not so tense. That's great.
Is it fair to say that you didn't used to stretch a lot, like 10, 15 years ago?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. And
I
it's
feel like
now
when I first met you, you weren't really flexible at all.
no.
And now you're getting way more into it.
Oh yeah. You see the difference like so. It's night and day.
Yeah.
How do you feel too? How you do different things? How do you everything?
Right.
I stretch as much as I work out these days. Like it's kind of even.
Yep, that's excellent. And another real quick that people, when people are sick after they've been sick and they're like, can't wait to get back doing a workout. It's like your body was just really stressed out.
Yeah.
You need to replenish. So it's kind of like make the movement match your mood, or make the movement match
I
your
like that.
situation. I like to say make it match your mood, but get out of this whole must go workout or whatever and just listen to your body. Are you tired? If you're tired, do a work-in.
Yep.
If you've got nervous energy or you're all like rare, then you go do a workout. So what is your body wanting right now? Which one, and give it that.
Yeah, it's massive. It's important there. All right, now we're all ready to get into the mind.
That's a scary place.
Well, we're gonna start with little stuff and go from there. Like obviously, that has to be one because it's one of the pillars that you look at, right? And
Yeah.
and people's mentality towards things is it's something that can be changed. But what are your approaches to that? What do you look at? Somebody comes in and obviously they have physical problems, but you have to look at the mind too, right? You have to look at the brain. You have to look at all of that.
Yeah, and the mental and emotional bodies, we'll call them, or aspects, I call them, crucial. You can eat all the good food you want, and you can be hydrated and sleep and all that stuff. But if you have, your thoughts can be your best medicine or your source of toxins. And so you can be doing all the other things and still be sick or not well or doing off your game and all the things and have stuff going on. Why am I this? What's going on? And and again, the negative thoughts and all the self-talk. So how do we look at that? So I that's where, for me, I use shamanic journeying, and I work with people in that way. Sometimes we just do talk therapy type stuff and get into what's going on. And, you can ask yourself, okay, what am I afraid of? And, so you're agitated, something's going on in your mind, and, all right, what am I afraid of? And keep asking, well, I'm afraid of getting hurt. Well, why are you afraid of getting hurt? Well, because that would mean I'd have to ask for help. Well, what's wrong with asking for help? And you keep asking, well, what's wrong with that? And well, why? Well, why? And you and you get to the root of what is going on in the mind that is causing you to be so stressed out or fearful about something. We don't really tend to fear the future. We're fearing something from the past that happened, a trauma, something that's still living in our tissue. So it can be in the mind and the self-talk. It also lives in the fascia, in the muscles, in the tissue. And so working with people, on that kind of thing is big. But it's, what do you say to yourself every day? How many times, trying to catch yourself, you catch yourself mouth breathing or something and stuff like that. And we're paying attention to these things. That's cool. And now let's pay attention also to, what are the little self-talk things that we're saying and the words. So like, I came in here showing you my water bottle earlier. It's got some etchings on it of, geometry that's got some good energy to it and some dolphins and stuff. So what are the words are energy, images are energy. So what are you saying? Are you always saying, oh, what a pain in the neck? And you wonder why you're seeing a chiropractor for your neck.
Yeah.
It's for real, And it just so, I've spent years catching myself with all that. That one is years in practice right there. All that kind of stuff. Like, what are you saying to yourself? And it's kind of like there's a quote. I forget which famous person said this, but whether you think you can win or you can't, you're right. And it's just, it's what is the...
I like that.
Right.
I like that.
It's kind of an attitude thing, but it's the self-talk. Whether you think you talk yourself into things, you talk yourself out of things. And so what to do about that? Like I said earlier, it's, okay, the mind is a tool. The more we can learn to tap into the body, to reside in the body, not in the mind, then you're going to have this as a tool, not as your co-pilot or something, telling you all the time, oh, that was stupid, or, you've got this voice, and it's just like,
self-critical voice, right? And we see it on the tennis court too. We see it a lot.
I'm sure.
And it's interesting because we see it a lot more with the adults. It's almost like you see it as a setting from childhood, as, oh, I did this wrong, or like we sometimes ask a simple question: what do you think about this scenario that just happened?
Yeah.
And a lot of the times, not always, and you know what you're dealing with then and how to approach it. It comes in, oh, I've done this wrong, and I done. So that's looking at it from the wrong versus, no, you this what you learn from it. It was just something that happened, a situation.
Yep.
Look at it more positively from it. So it's a lot of that I see life and tennis.
Yeah.
It's amazing how
it's the upbringing, and in most cases, it's also, you said you see it in adults, not kids, and I mean the kids are getting it from the adults eventually, they don't
yes.
quite have it. They haven't gotten trapped by it quite yet, but they
correct. If we enter the juniors, you enter early, and that's when you're like, okay, well, tell me what you've done different here.
Yeah,
and they'll tell you creatively what that situation could have looked differently, and now they'll do it. They're not thinking about how wrong or bad that decision was.
Yes, that
do you find that?
hear that all the time. Yeah.
And one of the most beautiful things about really young kids is they don't have a lot of negative self-talk yet. So they're very free.
Yeah.
Yes, it's beautiful watching kids. Kids are our best teachers in a lot of ways. They're little Buddhas. We'll just watch them and then be mindful of what you're saying to them. And nobody's perfect, and it's going to be what as an adult, it's like we should be spending a lot of time undoing what was done.
Yeah.
And, you can ask yourself, so all these thoughts going on or your values, your thoughts, are they yours? At some point, I got, I realized hard, that, oh my God, that's not even mine. I don't even like that. I was just raised that way, and just like, holy cow, I got to ditch that one,
does that serve me anymore? Do I need it?
Doesn't serve, exactly. Not only.
God, that's a hard thing to
it's
hard. Realize.
To track down,
It's hard to realize which things
that's not
really
mine.
Don't resonate.
Right.
And then,
Holy moly.
it's not mine. Does it even resonate with me? And you have to sit with it for a while and decide, But it's the programming. It's a lot of programming. And
kids' brains
pressure.
are so malleable that if you tell them something, then all of a sudden that's just how life is.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah.
And as an adult, you do have to figure out like where was that chain put on you at that age, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. And then it often takes a lot of work to undo it.
Yeah.
And some of it was just programming, parents, teachers, whatever.
World, society.
Exactly, the whole thing. And some of it is stuff that happened to us that we then, build a protective mechanism around, and we do things a certain way because our bodies, our minds, all of it remembers what happened, and we don't want that to happen again. So we do think, okay, but you're not there anymore.
Yeah.
And okay, maybe something is a little similar, but go into it with, beginner's mind, with childlike, with childlike awe, and not all the crap from before. So that's a hard thing, but trying to work on that, go into it with a beginner's mind or that childlike awe is the best way we can kind of deal with the mind.
That's the easiest way to shifting and making a parallel to our sport. The easiest way to learn the sport. It's a tough one. So you have adults coming to learn and then trying to understand it, and we try to be as positive as we can, and we know how tough the sport is, and there's going to be failures. We still do them now our own, but going with that, hey, joyful mind. I'm learning something new. I'm a kid. That's the best way. And those are the people that actually advance the quickest.
It is.
Because there's no walls there. There's no wrong. Like, oh yeah, that's
Right.
okay. So what?
Right.
I hit the curtain. Okay, it's all right.
Right. Not afraid of making.
Yeah,
making
it's
a
okay.
mistake, yeah.
Right.
That's the
Yeah.
easiest way. Yeah, you're right. The beginner's mind, the child mind. Yeah.
Yep. Yep.
Do you feel like at times this working with people's minds is almost enough to kind of change perspectives on stuff and change eating habits and sleep and everything else that some people may have trouble with?
Yes. I would say the mind and the stuff that's stored in the body. So, which is
Trauma.
the trauma. So, maybe doing some myofascial release or some shamanic journeying, that kind of thing. But that in and of itself absolutely will change people to shift their diet. So a lot of people, I mean, who doesn't know now that McDonald's is not good for you and all the things? We know this, we just aren't implementing it. Why?
Yeah.
Okay. So then getting into the why. Why is that? So that's all the mind. And so absolutely, I'm not, that's a big part of my job is getting into the mind. Why aren't you able to implement this? And, I had a client who someone recommended her to me. She called me up. She's like, I want to do this, but I'm going to let you know right now, I don't really like to talk about food. I know it's a thing, but it's a trigger with me. I was like, okay. All right. So we'll get there some other way. So we started working on some other things, and we talked a little bit about food, but like if I said too much or was too, then okay. So I learned, so we did some, and she was on a lot of medications for various things. So we did some other stuff. We talked about other, we did some Qigong and how to breathe and just find your center. And we did some things like this, and we did some shamanic journeying. We talked about some things that happened. And next thing you know, she's like, all right, so this diet, so let's talk about food. Let's talk about diet. What should I, I'll try this gluten-free thing. And okay, cool. And so we did that. We only, we had, 5 or 6 sessions or something. Change your diet. The woman is a new person. She's off most of the medications. She's, but we had to go through a different way to get there. And so absolutely.
That's
sometimes it's just all.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it's amazing.
Rich, have any other questions?
About the mind or
anything
in general? I have some general ones.
Okay.
I don't want to deter from.
No,
the
we're good.
mind
We're good.
path.
Yeah.
Well, actually, one of these is similar to that. Is Reiki real?
Reiki is real, baby.
It is.
So yeah, so Reiki, it translates as energy of the universe. So it's just like, okay, so Reiki, so REI, and then KI. KI is just like QI and Qigong. Qi, it's energy, it's prana. Ray, again, universe. So what is it? So my first experience with Reiki, I went in for a massage. I wasn't into any of this stuff at the time. Reiki was like, yeah, whatever, dude. Reiki, I don't know. Yeah. I went in for a massage, and the woman had her hands on my low back, but she wasn't kneading. She wasn't doing anything. They were just resting there. I was getting upset. I was like, could you squeeze the muscles or do something? So I was kind of like getting annoyed, but her hands were just resting. But then I was like, oh, yeah, that's kind of relaxing. Okay, it feels, I don't know, whatever. I'll just let her do what she's doing. So afterwards, I was still a little annoyed. I'm like, what was that? I wanted a massage. She's like, no, I don't think it's cool to go in for a massage and give somebody Reiki. Right. That you should give them what they, but I couldn't dismiss what just occurred. And it relaxed me. I just went into a zone. It was relaxing. So I was like, all right, now I got to understand this. So that and if it weren't for that experience, I, may have poo-pooed Reiki for a while longer. So how does it work? So, you place hands, or hands don't even have to be touching. It can also be distance. So when you understand that energy, everything is energy. Okay, we're energy. Everything is energy. Energy doesn't have. There's no. Time and space is not linear. Okay, it's not linear. That's old science or, it's not the reality of it. So energy can move, energy transfers. It doesn't go away. It doesn't disappear. It just transfers to something else. So when you die, you transform into something else. Energy does not disappear. Poof. You can transfer energy. Reiki should not be considered, nor should it be practiced as a practitioner giving energy to a patient or a client. No, I don't want anybody else's energy personally. So what it is, if it's done correctly. So as a practitioner, I do Reiki. I do it. I still do it. I've do more now. We'll say that. But I do. Some people still they want Reiki, and I'm a clear vessel, and so I don't go into it thinking I'm not doing anything. I'm just a vessel. I'm a clear vessel. I'm a channel. Energy flows through me. So I'm trained to be a channel for energy of the Reiki, just universal energy to come through me to this person, and you're guided. It's intuitive, and it's also just guided. Where does the person need it? And you either place hands or you just hover or whatever goes on. And every time somebody gets off the table after Reiki, they're just like, wow, Interesting. I had a client, so I hadn't done Reiki for anyone in a while, doing other stuff, but someone requested it, so she came in. She's young. She had some Reiki afterwards. She said, I don't know why anybody smokes marijuana. They should just get Reiki. It's like this. She's like, wow, I'm just like so relaxed.
So
this
interesting.
feels so good.
That is
and
cool.
I'm like, that's good. And so it's just all this energy work is being a clear channel, opening up. Practicing Qigong is learning to tap into all the energy that's around us. I mean, so if we just go through our day using our own battery and not tapping into all this abundant energy around us, we burn out a little quickly over a day, over a lifetime. Learn to tap in. It's a practice. It takes some practice and knowing how to do that. Energy centers, but Reiki. So when you learn how to tap in, you fill up your battery, and you're just, you don't need that coffee anymore, right? Yeah. You're whatever, you're fuller, you've got the energy. So yeah, Reiki is real. There are some, so how shall I say this? There are some people who practice it a little oddly, a little impurely, shall we say? And I'll leave it at that. So if you're interested in Reiki, do your due diligence with your practitioner. But
Do you think there's for it to get the full effect? If there's two people going in, it's me and my buddy, and I'm a believer of it, and I really am invested in it, and I think it's going to work. And then I get a buddy who's like, this is, I'm not really sure. I think the effect is, to get the full effect, like you have to be not buy into it, but like, am I going to have a much greater experience than someone who goes in? You think you have to be open for it enough to work?
I think the more open you are, the more benefit you'll gain from it. Yeah. However, you do not have to be open. And so with Reiki in particular, I wasn't open to it when I first experienced. Well, to be honest, maybe I was more open to it than I thought I was. Right. So I think you have to be somewhat open, but being open, you might not even be conscious or aware that you're open to it, if that makes sense. Because I wasn't, if I'd gone in there for a massage and she said, well, I decided I'm not doing massage today, I'm going to give you Reiki, I would have said, bye. Right. I don't know what maybe not. I probably would have stayed, because I'd be like, all right, well, I'm here. Let's do this. I don't know. So I actually was open to it, but let's just say if I had been talking about it with people, Reiki, I'd be like, I don't know. I wasn't poo-pooing it, but I was not really interested in it either. Yeah. So I went in there, and I think, again, it was what my body needed. So I was, on some level, maybe my soul was open to it. Some part of me was open to it. It wasn't my mind particularly open to it, but some part of me was open to it. So I think some part of you perhaps has to be open to it. It doesn't have to be the mind, though. So someone could go in there thinking, what is this, Right. some part of their being knows the body needs this, just accept it, and they might be like, oh, yeah.
It's probably even more powerful that way.
Yeah.
When, like you're like, what is this? But then you have a certain experience with it where you're like, well, something happened there.
And then what do you do with that experience? Do you talk yourself after you get out? You know darn well that helped. That felt good. And you're like, wow, that was great. But then do you talk yourself out of it and you say, oh, I'm not doing that. That didn't work. Yeah, I've seen people do that with various things. Like, I'm like, oh, how did it go? How did it feel? Oh, actually it's pretty good. But you know what? That's
not for me.
It's not for me. Yeah.
I hate feeling good.
Yeah. But what is the problem here? So there's that mind again. It's getting in the way. But I don't think the mind has to be open to it, but some part has to be open to it.
And then I thought it would be fun to just kind of run through quick and just general wellness. Sometimes it can be easier to look at it instead of rearranging everything. Maybe just do easy swaps in your life to get started. Like this over that type of thing to kind of get the ball rolling.
Okay.
So there's all things that I feel like maybe personal care products.
Oh, yeah.
That's just you're touching on a daily basis.
Yes.
That can be an easy swap. Like you said, water. Make it mineral water.
Yep.
And add the electrolytes.
Yep.
Coffee. Make sure it's clean coffee.
Yep.
So there's a bunch of other things that I had. If you want to do it, just kind of run through toothpaste.
Oh yeah. I've been through so many toothpastes. So I finally found some good toothpaste. Get rid of
fluoride or no fluoride?
No fluoride.
Okay.
I started looking like the Joker from Batman or something. I had this weird rash from like just regular toothpaste. I finally realized it was the toothpaste. It's so bad. It's all the stuff in it, not just the fluoride. There's also yeah. And then some I switched to Bronner's, Dr. Bronner's toothpaste, but I found that abrasive. So it's clean, but it's abrasive. So there's it's called Dirt. The company is called, I think it's just Dirt.
It's an out there name for a toothpaste.
It's interesting. They sell some other stuff, but it's good. It's clean. It's minty. It's lovely. I like it. Dirt. That I think you can only find online. As far as some grocery stores around here, there's Weleda brand.
Okay.
I think that's how you say it. That's fairly clean toothpaste, and both seem non-abrasive. So yeah, toothpaste. Okay. Yeah. Health and beauty. That's a big topic. Anything you put on your skin is getting absorbed into your body. So, and if you don't believe that, ask yourself how the patches work. All those whatever they are, patches they stick on you.
Toothpaste, deodorant.
Yes, deodorant. Get rid of deodorants with aluminum in them. Heavy metals, definite problem. So find a clean deodorant. You can, the cleaner you eat, the less deodorant you're going to need. Sometimes things happen, and sometimes it's hormonal, and sometimes it's just all the other things. But you can even try just a little baking soda and coconut oil, just a tiny bit of baking soda, because it can cause irritation after a while. But if that doesn't work, I forget so Mountain Rose Herbs, yeah, that's what they're called, is a company. So I found a really good deodorant from them that I love. So Mountain Rose Herbs, great place for all kinds of fun stuff. Clean organic herbs, organic tea, you name it, whatever, they've got it. Some good clean beauty products, but they have a deodorant that's clean.
Do you like Native?
Works. Native.
That's
I don't know.
Kind of like one of the big kind of like cleaner deodorants. Native.
Never tried it. I don't know. I've tried a lot of different deodorants, and they either just didn't. So for me, and I'm sometimes a little princess in the pea. I'll find a deodorant. It works great for 3 weeks or a month, and then just doesn't. It's irritating or something. I don't know.
Trial and error.
Yep. But this one from Mountain Rose Herbs so far is good stuff. Really good.
How about sunscreen?
Yeah, you want to be wearing clean sunscreen too. So, Badger brand.
I've
That's pretty good. Yep. And you can find that pretty easily.
I've never even considered.
Yeah.
Whatever is like
but these can
the
be,
first aisle I walk by, whatever's up
Yeah.
the front of that aisle,
I know.
I grab it and then spray it all over my face and my
Oh, are you one of those
and my
people's at the
neck.
beach with our spraying and I'm like,
Yes.
Mayhull and I are over here
Yeah,
gagging at the spray. Yeah.
That is me. Oh boy. Bad
okay,
news.
badger.
Bad
We've
news.
gotten badger before. We've gotten blue lizard for our
Yeah.
son.
Yeah.
So you want the mineral sunscreen, right?
Yeah. Yes. So there was one brand, just always doing due diligence. So read every label for everything, for food, for skincare products. Read every ingredient on the label. Don't read the marketing. Read the ingredient list.
Okay.
And for sunscreen, I would even do a little Google search because there was one sunscreen, the name of which escapes me right now, but it came in a little tin, and Mayhull loved it. He was using that one, and my daughter actually found out. She's like, "You're not still using that brand, are you? Because it's got, I don't know, lead, whatever the heck it had in it. I don't even remember." Again, you just the 80-20 rule. By the way, you can drive yourself insane trying to, be. So you don't want to cause stress trying to be so clean that getting more stressed when you're trying to reduce your stress. But with sunscreens, it's hard. So just do that kind of, because all the minerals that you want them in there, and just make sure they're not known or have found heavy metals in the brand.
Can I do a couple more? Yeah. What do you like for body soap?
So I usually, I've got some bars. I just bought some bars of soap the other day, actually, from some place on Cabot Street in Beverly called Unpacked Living. So I'm the one who buys the bars of soap at the farmer's market. I read the ingredients. Yeah. But the goat milk or saponified olive oil and coconut oil and maybe an essential oil in there. I kind of like scent-free stuff, in general, but throw in an essential oil, maybe fine. Stay away from perfume.
Okay.
Parfum ingredient or fragrance. The word fragrance bad. So I like bar soaps that have like 5 ingredients or less. Okay. And you can find them a lot of places, but not all. Like Whole Foods, you go to Whole Foods, they have that whole read the ingredients. Okay. Some of them are okay, some of them not so much. They got the parfum or fragrance or whatever stuff in there. And of course, no, you don't want any dye and you don't want any fragrance. Right. But there are some good liquid soaps. Wow, what brand? 100% Pure is one brand that I haven't used in about a year, but it was good at that time. Always reading the ingredients again, but I'm back to bar soaps that, like, as I just described. I like them better, cleaner.
You have to go to a place your supermarket's going to carry something like that you need,
probably
or no,
not.
you're not going to.
Probably
you're
not going to find it. Yeah. Go online. I mean the bars.
How is that possible? How can I not go to a friggin' supermarket and get soap that isn't terrible for me?
I don't know. It's ridiculous.
Like I need Amazon for that?
Yeah, I know, right? Go to farmer's market. There's nothing.
Farmer's
market. Right.
As much as seriously, the way that you shop is the key to a lot of this. I live in Gloucester, and there's the Common Crow grocery store, and I shop there. They have a lot of good stuff. Not everything is clean there either. Yeah. You got to look. In Newburyport, there's the Natural Grocer, I think it's called, or something. Mm-hmm. They've got stuff sometimes. Whole Foods is better than some of the other regular grocery stores, but not always. You still have to read the label. I mean,
I love the way that my green Irish Spring smells. Picture the little leprechaun on my shoulder as I'm soaping up. Back to the drawing boards.
Yeah. There's so many things that we're putting on. It's like, well, maybe it would be easier if we just kind of swapped this out for something else.
Yes.
Yeah.
Those are.
Sorry, guys, but tampons.
Yeah.
They're terrible for you, right?
They are.
So, what should we do?
Not wear them.
Just the
seriously.
cup. Just the cup.
I listen, I was a pad girl my whole life. You know, if I was doing I did a few triathlons. So swimming, yeah, okay, I'd use one. Otherwise, no. It's
got to be awful.
Didn't seem right.
Right. It's got to be awful for you.
Yeah, it is. It's not. And if you're going to use them, they have clean ones. They have organic ones. Get organic cotton. I think kind of they're not as comfortable. If you can deal with them, okay. But don't leave them in very long. You got to change it up. Okay. Very, but
there's so many things to think of.
There are. Yeah, cup too. Cup is fine too. Yeah.
Okay. Protein powders.
Yeah.
Are you okay with them? Is there some that are better than others?
Some are better than others. Read the ingredient list. So for protein powders, so like pure hemp powder, sure. College. So I'm kind of, I'll use collagen powder. I don't tend to use, my whole will use it a little more than I will. Because I don't feel like I need it enough to eat that stuff. That's how I feel like. I'm like, do I really? Yeah. I don't know. So if you're working out a lot and you need a quick way to get some protein, then yes. And there are definitely going to be cleaner ones out there. And so just get those. And there are enough choices, I think, of cleaner ones. So organic, I again, if you're going to have like whey protein, you've got to be able to tolerate milk. If you can't tolerate dairy, don't use whey protein. If you tolerate dairy, okay, and you want to use whey, then okay. But make sure it's a good source, organic and all of that.
If you feel a cold coming on, other than lots of good water and sleep, is there anything that you can take to kind of suppress illness coming on?
Yeah. So, of course, all the things, the sleep and the water and the stuff, like you said. As far as, so I use some Qigong things, which I'll tell you about. So Qigong is my medicine cabinet.
Your go-to.
It's absolutely, and I can give you something real quick, but also supplement wise, vitamin C and zinc, still good stuff.
That seems to be like the pillar.
It is. They still are, in my opinion. Liposomal vitamin C, more easily absorbed. And depending on the illness, if you're thinking viral, maybe some vitamin D, but elderberry syrup. So here's a good one for you. So the elderberry syrup is good for, colds and flu. And I made my own elderberry syrup. Sometimes I forget to take it. I take it sometimes. Black cumin seed oil is something that we discovered a couple years ago. I order it online. Actually, Mountain Rose Herbs probably has it too. Black cumin seed oil. It's awesome. It is it was good for COVID, getting rid of COVID, all the things, flu virus, you feel something coming on, or if you've just been out in a big gathering and you want to come home and just kind of,
that's a good idea.
What I do, this is what I do. Yeah. I go out in public, like I'm not going to do it from being here with you guys or anything, but I'm out, if I'm big party, who the heck knows, whatever I'm doing. Come home, take some elderberry syrup, take some black cumin seed oil, maybe pop a vitamin C.
Okay.
That's it, but black cumin seed oil.
How's that taste?
Magic.
With that name, I know it's probably good for you.
I've never heard of it.
No, it's a good question.
I can picture that flavor.
Yeah, it's probably not for everybody. Okay. I like it. I can just take a spoonful of it and it. I can't describe it. I don't.
Yeah. Dump it in a little Monster and wash it down.
Good.
Good to go.
Yeah, it might be an acquired taste. I like it, but
It's like taking medicine, though. It's not all medicine.
Yeah.
Sometimes you just gotta get it in your body.
Yeah. But it's good stuff.
Nice.
Really good stuff.
I love knowing this stuff. I love little swaps and tips and tricks just for general wellness, because I feel like everyone can benefit from that.
Yeah. I mean, I guess the women put
so much
more stuff on your skin. I'm watching Erica. She's constantly.
Oh yeah.
Some of them are in the tiniest little.
Yeah.
How do you even open that in this tiny little thing, and just constantly putting it? It really is endless. Like we don't. Can't remember like the last time I rubbed something on my skin. I'm like, what? But I guess it's something you have to be.
Body cream.
Yeah,
is it just coconut oil? Like what's?
Yeah, so I have a little obsession with like body creams and butters and all this. And I used to be that person
Because they're bad for you?
No,
Or
I love
you
them.
like,
I love them.
okay.
As long as they're clean, you know. But I used to be that person who went to CVS and bought absolute crap stuff, and I went to, I don't know, what was it called?
Bath and Body Works.
Is that the one? Bath and Body Works?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, the vanilla, whatever the heck. Oh.
Yeah.
And
I remember
wore it.
those.
Yeah.
I forgot
you
about
can smell that place as
Yeah.
you walk by in the
Exactly.
mall.
It's
They're still around.
Are they?
I don't know
Oh, they should be
who's
put out of
shopping
business.
there,
I don't-
but-
I'm sorry. It's not just them. It's but
Yeah.
you know, so yeah, it took me years to detox all that stuff
Right.
out of my body. But I like refuse to give up my lotiony stuff. So yeah, coconut oil is always good. I mean, you could rub. My body can tolerate. I could drop a bottle of olive oil on my face and it would love it. You know, like some people just sort of like, that's too oily, I can't do it, but I love it.
the Kramer with butter.
I wouldn't put it past myself to rub butter on my face, but there's so much out there now. There's plenty of good products. Like again, Mountain Rose Herbs has some good stuff. Really, maybe not all. Bamboo Earth is a really good brand. BAMBU, I think, is the Bamboo Earth. 100% pure, has clean products. I didn't find them as like creamy as I wanted or something, but you know, there's a lot out there. Precious Skin Elixirs is another good one. Again, they're all going to be more expensive than, I mean, you know, the budget definitely had to allow for clean beauty products. It's insane. But I still have, my mother used to tease me when I was a teenager that you should come in, you know, and she'd be like, you have like the whole CVS in here with all my things. And now I'm still like that, but now it's clean, all clean, good stuff. You know, like everything has maybe just 5 ingredients, and like shea butter. I love shea butter. Mango butter, shea butter, like jojoba oil, like all those things. And just just buy that on its own.
Right.
I like if you really want a fragrance, essential oil, buy an essential oil, pure, not that brand you see at Whole Foods, like Acacia or whatever it's called.
Okay.
Sorry.
No,
They're not a sponsor either.
yeah.
Do you
not, but-
diffuse essential oils in your home, or are you not into that?
I have a diffuser and I have essential oils. I don't find myself diffusing all that often. Something about it doesn't sit right with me. I don't know why. I'll do it sometimes. So that's actually, it's something you can do if, again, you feel a cold coming on, whatever, you diffuse some thyme or rosemary or oregano oil or something like that into, you know, just don't sit like right there with it. And when you have kids and pets in the house, sometimes it can be irritating for them. So I don't know. There's a time and a place for diffusing, and it should just be done right and not sitting on top of it. Like you can fill a room with some good thyme oil, or like again rosemary, oregano, all those when you know, cold season or whatever, or even if you detect mold or whatever. I mean, it's going to take a lot more than that to get rid of the mold, but do it. But just get your kids and your pets so they're not right near it. I like essential oils. I like to put a drop of essential oil in my favorite, oil, body butter, whatever. And if I want a scent, and that's what I use. For
no perfume.
Just essential oil. Yeah. So
No cologne for guys too, right?
it's the same. Yeah, I'm sure it's the same. So like I made this homemade cologne for my whole ones. It was, like I did have to use like a vodka or some kind of alcohol as a base, but sandalwood oil, essential oil, and some other like cedar wood kind of thing, or so, like I don't know, some good whatever. And he liked it. Nice. Pretty sure.
He's like, yeah.
He liked it. Well, because he used to wear cologne, and he wanted something clean. I was like, I'll do my best. So I just mixed some things and gave it to him, and he liked it. I mean, it worked. But so there are ways to do it. Yeah. And if you once you have your favorite perfume or your favorite cologne, and you want to go out, you're having a hot date, you want to get fine. Again, 80-20 rule. I mean, whatever. There are ways to get around that, but like whatever, a couple times a year, give yourself a squirt. That's you'll live. It'll be okay.
Not every day.
But no, not every day.
All right.
Are you a cologne guy? You wear cologne?
Yeah, I feel like I work with people all the time, and you go there, you go close to them, and you fix things and grips, and I feel like you.
Yeah. Well,
I get
a lot of people are actually sensitive. So I I teach Tai Chi but I also take a class. And our instructor, the head of the dojo, sent out an email recently saying, please no cologne, don't wear anything. There's somebody here, so some of the people are sensitive to it. And so there are a lot of people actually that are sensitive to whatever colognes and perfumes.
Fair enough.
So
My lessons get my natural musk. That's what they get.
all right.
Yeah. Colosi, cheetah, Colosi puma. You're probably getting it now.
Suzanne, thank you so much for coming.
Oh,
We
yeah,
learned
you're
so much. This has been amazing.
a lot of fun.
I hope people do listen to this one. They get a lot from it. I do wanted to mention your book here. We still have a couple at the club, but it's the Optimal Health Cookbook. There's a lot of good information there. There's some nice recipes, by the way.
Thank
That's
you.
some cool stuff. How, if people want to contact you, or how do they get in touch with you?
Yeah. My website is energizebodyandmind.com, and you can find my contact information there. Email me, energizebodyandmind@gmail.com. My website shows all the different ways to work with me. One-on-one health coaching, from nutrition to everything we talked about, shamanic healing, whatever, qigong, tai chi, privates. I also teach classes in tai chi and qigong.
I'm gonna come to a couple of those classes.
Oh, it's the best.
I'm intrigued.
This is
I
my
don't know much
love
about
right
it,
there.
so,
Tai Chi
yeah.
is my absolute true love.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's been
Doesn't
great.
Paul Chek sign In Love and Chi?
Yes.
Sing
Yeah,
this?
yeah.
Yep. That he does.
Well, we appreciate you again. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah,
Yeah, you're
and
welcome. And
we
thank
would love
you.
to have you here at some point in the future again.
Sure.
That'll be great.
Yep. Absolutely. Thanks a lot. For
Thank you.
having me. You guys have been a lot of fun. Thank you.
We appreciate it. Thank you.